The story is, it was in the 1890s. You know, at one time they called Louisville the graveyard of the West. Supposedly when she started dabbling in the black arts, that's when things went downhill for her. We're in the Russell Houston mansion, and we're on the second floor front room, which is supposedly where the governess to the children of the family once lived. Her name was Annie Whipple. There is a lot of written documentation about there being a lot of hoodoo practices and communities in this area. They came to her house one night and cut off her arm as a way of teaching her a lesson, you know, to not dabble in the black arts.
First of all, thank you so much for having us in your lovely home. It is truly spectacular. If you could please introduce yourself and tell us when you bought the Bourbon Inn and why you bought it.
My name's Ellen Stauffer, and I bought the Bourbon Inn last March. Found this property for sale and realized that I had another chapter left in me, and this seemed like a good place to do it.
We're here because your house is allegedly haunted, but more specifically, we're here because your house is the location of what I think is Louisville's strangest urban legend, which is that of Annie Whipple.
Oh, yes. So the first history that I heard was, obviously it was built in the 1880s. It took them 4 years to build it. It was built for Russell Houston. There was nothing left on the table. They, you know, it was a show of opulence and grandeur everywhere you look. The story that I know is that he was married and had children, and his wife died. And when he was in his late 60s or early 70s, he married a younger woman who was in her late 20s, and they proceeded to have several more children. And the story that as I said, what I have been told is that his third child was born when he was 76. So we were always like, that Russell got it going on. So that was the story as I had heard it.
Now we start getting into this. Okay, so if Russell didn't remarry, if he died in the house and his funeral was held in the house, and so that is in print, that was in the papers, he was prominent. Like, it's very obvious that Russell Houston meant a lot to the people of Louisville. His birthday parties were in the newspapers. His death was in the newspapers. Like, people really paid attention to what the Houstons were doing.
Right.
And then his wife dies in the home. So now we have two deaths, right? So we have the Houstons.
Right.
And what I find interesting is I start thinking, and I'm like, okay, but he had kids, so who could Annie Whipple have possibly been the governess to? That's the question, right? Because the legend is there was a governess to the children, one of the children was sick, and she helped, and she ends up practicing, you know, gets into witchcraft, and there's this amazing legend that surrounds her. But who was the kid? So, like, we have to start with that, right? Like, who was the child? Because all of Russell's children were fully grown when they were living in the house.
Right. The other thing that I had heard, of course, is her reign or tenure was here during the Spanish flu. That was supposedly the epidemic that the children got sick, and, you know, when Annie crossed over into the dark arts to help save them. So timing-wise, you're talking almost 40 years after the house was built and the Houstons had lived here. So maybe it was one of their children. I don't know. I have heard from the former innkeeper that people will see her. And I've not had any of my guests see her, and I've never seen her, but they'll see a woman in black, shrouded in black on the stairs, that kind of thing. It is a strong legend. As you found a lot about it, I've heard a lot about it. It's very interesting to me. We've done historic home tours and people have come through, and there's discussion about the house, and I think I know something, and they're like, oh no, you're wrong. And so there is a lot of kind of ambiguity, I guess, surrounding all of that. And as you said, you look at the death records, Russell was married to his wife, and they lived here forever. And the other thing that I'd heard later was that this was built for his retirement home. And I think he was only in it about 8 years or so before he died. And then she was, 9 years younger than he was, and she died almost 9 years after he did.
So the story of Annie Whipple is associated with the house.
Yes.
And there's a lot of ghost stories that attribute themselves to that legend. So I'm really curious. You're the homeowner. You live here. You have guests come and stay in this beautiful place.
Yes,
I want to know, what have you experienced and what have your guests experienced?
You know, it's interesting that I did not hear about Annie Whipple until after I had purchased the home. And so what I had heard about, it was funny, what I had heard about was the ghost cat, which supposedly is at the carriage house, and that people would hear meowing, and they would feel like a cat had brushed up against their leg. I was talking to my sister on the phone, and she said, I want you to put me on FaceTime so we can look at the house. So we came in, and of course, I'm just enchanted. I'm enchanted with the thick doorways. I'm enchanted with all the hardware. I'm enchanted with the chandelier, all those things. And so I'm walking through, and she said to me, what's with the cat, the concrete cat? And I'm telling her about the legend of the ghost cat. And she is not a cat person. And she said to me, why does it have to be a cat? Just like that. And all of a sudden, all the lights just start flickering. And I thought, oh, there's got to be a short or something. So immediately I said, I love cats. Cats are my favorite. Like, I don't know if we made somebody mad, but I like cats, so we're all good. So that has been, there are odd things that happened in the house. And also when I purchased the home, I can't tell you the number of people that said to me, you're not gonna scare the ghost away, are you? You're not gonna, so it does very much have that reputation.
Yeah.
But the other thing that's interesting is, a book flying out of a bookshelf for no reason.
What room did that happen in?
That happened actually in the hallway, kind of by the servant staircase. And so that's kind of an interesting thing, and it's happened twice. And the same book. Yes. So and it was all I ever needed to know. I learned in kindergarten. So I don't know if that was a sign of something. I have no idea.
That's really fascinating.
So kind of interesting. And also there'll be times that I think that the door's been left open because there'll be quite a breeze. And you just know there's got to be something open, and there is not. I'm very particular about how our beds are made. It's part of what we do. We want them to be the most comfortable and soft and just so. And so I had been in the home alone for a couple days, and we were getting ready for guests and going upstairs to turn the lights on before they come. And I noticed that there is the imprint of a bottom on the bed, like somebody's been sitting there.
Which bedroom was that?
And it would have been it would have been on the third floor, what I assume would be the governess room. So it was kind of a funny thing. And I kept thinking, who's been up here? And I know I would have never sat on the bed because once they're made, we want to keep them that way, So, that was also kind of a wild thing that happened.
So going into tonight's investigation, do you have any advice for the team?
I think if you just enjoy the spirit of the house, that would be the biggest thing, because it definitely has one. You can feel it. Just the ambiance and so I think that would be my advice. Just walk with your eyes open and take it all in.
Guys, when you were talking, there was noises upstairs. Is there anybody up there? Hello? Somebody upstairs? Are one of the windows open or something?
No, they should not be.
My name's David Domine. I live in Louisville, Kentucky. I write about old Louisville. According to legend, Annie Whipple was a kind of mysterious figure who arrived from the East Coast. They say she came from Maine, and her husband was a whaling captain who had been lost at sea. And she came to Louisville. Back then, Louisville was kind of a gateway city. You know, we were the jumping off point to many places in the Wild West. And she came here to get a new start. And she had been a teacher, and so she was hired by different wealthy families to educate their children. And supposedly she was hired by Judge Russell Houston to be the nanny and the governess to his children in this house. It was in the 1890s. You know, at one time they called Louisville the graveyard of the West because of our location in the Ohio River Valley. It's kind of a basin area. They said Louisville was usually more prone to diseases and epidemics than other parts of the country. Yellow fever, cholera, typhoid, things like that. Supposedly during one of these epidemics, the children of the family became sick, and Annie became their nursemaid, and she tended to them. There were 3 children, and she was able to nurse the 2 older ones to health. The youngest one, a young girl, she wasn't able to nurse to health. And doctors had come. Doctors told the family to kind of prepare for the worst. They didn't think that this little girl was going to make it. Annie refused to give up, though. She stayed at the girl's bedside, tried to make her comfortable, you know, mopped her brow, and while she sat there, Annie would entertain herself by reading the local newspaper, you know, books and things like that. And she came from a religious family, supposedly. She didn't believe in things dealing with the occult and paranormal, but one day as she was sitting at the girl's bedside, she supposedly read about a phenomenon, something that was becoming popular in Louisville, something that was popular other places, but it was called automatic writing. The idea was certain people had a talent to commune with the dead, and given the right circumstances, people on the other side could reach through the veil, and using your body, using your hands, they could write messages. And Annie Whipple didn't really believe this, but she, you know, read about this. Well, she also read a story about a doctor across the river by the name of Dr. Anderson. And Louisville is right on the Ohio River, so the next state on the other side of the river is Indiana, and the nearest town in Indiana is Jeffersonville. Annie Whipple read about a well-known doctor by the name of Dr. Anderson who had very unorthodox practices. He was able to cure anything, and some people called him a witch doctor. But he still had this reputation for doing miraculous cures and things like that. So after all the things Annie tried didn't work, she got it in her head that, well, maybe she went and saw Dr. Anderson. He might be able to cure this little girl, you know, that was kind of languishing on her deathbed. So one day, it was the next day, Annie Whipple hitched the horses to the carriage, and she drove across the one bridge that went across the Ohio River to Jeffersonville. She found out where Dr. Anderson lived, and she pulled up to his house, and she saw that the front of the house, the porch and the windows were all decked out with black bunting and crepe, which was a sign of mourning. And it turns out Dr. Anderson had died the very night before, maybe as she was reading, you know, the article about him. And so she turned around and came back to the Russell Houston mansion. And she was, of course, crestfallen. You know, that was her last hope. But that night, as she sat next to the little girl's bed and tended to her and read the newspapers like she normally did, she saw this article again talking about automatic writing. And supposedly there were several people who had come to the city to, you know, display their skill in automatic writing and talk about it. And when Annie Whipple read this story, all of a sudden she got this idea that maybe she could use automatic writing to contact Dr. Anderson, who had just died. You know, he was freshly dead. He was probably still reachable on the other side. And in this neighborhood, there was a famous voodoo woman. They called it hoodoo around here. Her name was Josephine. And right around the corner is a famous gnarled tree where Josephine used to meet her clients. So Annie Whipple made an appointment to meet Josephine, and explained her predicament and said, you know, she needed to contact this spirit. This doctor had recently died, and he was the only one that she believed would be able to cure this little girl. And of course, Josephine, the hoodoo woman, knew exactly what it was all about, said, oh yes, and she took some money from Annie Whipple and then gave her this satchel with some magic powder in it. She gave her a gardenia candle and a parchment with a kind of prayer that was written out. And she said, well, what you have to do, if you're willing to contact the dead and they're willing to commune with you, you have to sit down at the table, light this candle, you incant this prayer, you invite the spirit to come and kind of possess you and use your body to write messages. And if they're so inclined, you know, things will kind of go from there. And so Annie Whipple rushed back here to the Houston mansion, to this room where she used to have her bed and her desk. She sat down at the desk, put out the paper, sprinkled it with the magic powder, lit the candle, said this prayer, and said, Dr. Anderson, you're the only one that can help this little girl, you know. I know you've recently departed this realm, but if you could just kind of help me come up with a cure for this little girl. She's become like my own daughter. If you could help me, you know, I'd be forever indebted. And supposedly Annie Whipple fell into a kind of trance. And when she woke up, the paper that she had laid out in front of her had this writing that she didn't recognize. It was a different kind of handwriting, and it was in a language she didn't know.
This tree is at the center of the story of Annie Whipple, and I've been thinking a lot about that ghost story. And I always want to know, like, why certain stories people like. I guess a lot of people like Hamlet because, you know, people hate it when their moms remarry somebody. But I think that a lot of people identify with the Annie Whipple stories because no matter what, she was willing to put her life at risk and sacrifice herself in order to save somebody else. Apparently, witches, they would go and they make offerings here. People would come here and they would make some type of ceremonial offering. So I've brought some ceremonial items to offer to maybe charge the energy of the investigation. So I brought some things that really mean a lot to me. 2 things that mean the most to me in this world. I didn't bring my children, that would be inappropriate. But I've got some chocolate and a vape. I'm gonna go with the chocolate to give to the tree. I guess, maybe, can we see some ghosts in the Louisville Bourbon Inn? Can you make Brandon really happy and show up on a camera? If you want to possess me, you can. I don't really like myself that much, so if you could possess me with like a cool demon, that would be good. I would like that. So possess me, or at the very least show up on camera and talk to us. And I offer this chocolate and my soul, actually. And here you go. Oh, great tree, take the chocolate, take my soul. Get us some good activity tonight. Stuff out. Bye, Witch's Tree.
The biggest question we had going into this investigation was if the constant retelling of a local legend possibly willed it into existence. We put this thought-form manifestation theory to the test by following Annie Whipple's footsteps. After making an offering to the Witch's Tree, we will recreate the seance she learned from Lady Josephine to test if living out this tragic myth, in spite of it being untrue, can possibly manifest sightings of Annie into existence.
Hi, Angelique.
Hi.
Malia.
Malia, pleased to meet you.
Pleased to meet you. I'm so excited about what you're going to bring to tonight. I think you are literally going to make this all the difference in the world. I am so excited.
So.
I'm setting up some multi-sensors in here, basically kind of logging the environment to figure out if any changes happen. We already had some in here to kind of get a baseline. Now that we're going to introduce her into the environment, we'll see if there's any changes. And I got a couple other things. I got a thermal camera as well. So if any environmental changes happen, we should be able to capture that.
I read that she did automatic writing, so I try to get as close to her. So I've got sketch paper, an ink and an old-fashioned pen because she would have used that style. Gopher dust. Put in this jar. It's basically a bunch of different ingredients, mostly involving protection.
Okay.
They're dirt from different people's graves. I basically bought it off of them by paying some money at the cemetery gates and also bringing them some flowers so that they could extra protect us.
Okay.
Basically, what I practice is a spiritismo. It's like the Spanish version of spiritualism. And part of it is I have to cover my head. And the reason being, I don't know if you guys as ghost hunters or if you're kind of sensitive, but sometimes ghosts try to enter in through your head. We call this an
Really?
orrery.
Okay.
And it's a good thing you wear a hat. You know, it's always not, or cleanse yourself.
Good thing I get the protection.
I put Florida water in a spritz bottle.
I love
Spray
Florida
it on
water.
me. Yeah, it's a great smell.
I love it.
But you can also use it for cleansing yourself.
I'm just still
Yeah,
stuck on
cleansing.
ghosts entering through the head. Like I got a bald spot, so like I'm worried about that.
Oh.
It's coming in through there.
Can you get some tinfoil or something?
Yeah, I'm gonna get, I know something. Or a helmet.
So basically, in this is regular water, but to kind of spruce it up, I added some Florida water.
Okay.
Sometimes you might put other colognes in there. Colognes are protective and cleansing.
And what's the purpose of this is for, like you said, cleansing and protection,
Yeah,
things
pretty
like that?
much. We're recreating a seance.
Okay.
I'm kind of mixing my version with their version. I just know from experience, some seances I've been to have been pretty hardcore. And of course, not on camera, but I've seen people possessed where I had to clear spirits out of them.
Whoa.
And so some of these are for that. Yeah,
Okay.
I've seen some wild stuff.
Okay.
I'm Angelique Stacy, and I'm a tour guide with Louisville Historic Tours. I do practice espiritismo, which is a type of spiritualism. I'm also an initiate into Santeria and Olorisha. Sometimes folks are inclined to use Santeria, voodoo, hoodoo, those things interchangeably. However, though they are of similar essence, they are actually from different parts of the African continent. So they are, while names might be a little bit similar, it's specific entities that we're working, or angels, as some people come to use a word that's kind of interchangeable. You don't have to be initiated to practice hoodoo. It's good to have a teacher because you don't want to mess with things that you don't understand, or maybe, for example, working with graveyard dirt. You just don't want to go into any graveyard willy-nilly grabbing things. You want to pay respect to the certain spirits. And so there are certain protocols that are important to learn. I have seen people get jumped by spirits who don't have the human's best interest at heart. And so I've seen people need to have those removed. It was about 8 years ago, and I was volunteering for the dining at the mansions. So a couple of us came back to this particular mansion to wait for folks to eat through their dinner and collect them later. I was sitting with another docent on a couple of chairs in this same room, looking at both of the staircases, the main staircase here behind me and the servant staircase up in the back. And we joked about if Annie Whipple would come down these stairs, and at that moment, something caught me out of the corner of my eye, and I started to look up the back staircase, and what I saw was a pretty firm outline of, not like a totally dark shadow, but an outline of a very proper woman, corseted with great posture, kind of hair done up like mine, walk up the staircase that way at a very steady pace.
We have not had any changes in the environment. Nothing unusual has taken place in any way, shape, or form. So
Excellent.
it's going to be interesting to see what happens here when Angelique recreates what Annie Whipple did, right?
Yeah. From what I read, and maybe your researchers folks found more, that basically she got some dust from Lady Josephine.
I've not seen anything in writing about Josephine. It's been passed on through tales and stories over the generations, but One of the stories is that Josephine only had one arm. And the legend is that the locals, they knew she was practicing voodoo, and with the arm that she used to cast spells and give her potions and things, they supposedly, like, a mob of peasants with pitchforks and torches, they came to her house one night and cut off her arm as a way of teaching her a lesson, to not dabble in the black arts. And the funny thing is that there are newspaper accounts that kind of coincide with this time period, where at the house next door one morning, the residents awoke and they found a black woman's arm hanging from their front door. It had been hung there by a wire.
Oddly enough, this is not the strangest dinner I've ever been to.
I'm gonna walk over there and kind of cleanse myself with the water. So yeah, the back of the neck, the head, underneath the knees and the elbows are all places where ghosts like to enter in your body.
Really?
This keeps them out of my body, so hopefully they will just use my hands. I'm stating that intention in case there is anybody here we are trying to contact. Anybody else like to
I can do it.
cleanse?
Yeah,
Okay.
like anything. I'll cleanse, sure.
Yeah, basically all you do is walk up to that bowl
I'll do
of
it as
water, put it on the back of your neck, on the top of your head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I'm losing my hair too. I totally feel you.
Okay, so just arms, back to head, and all that?
Yeah. Kind of like you're wiping yourself off.
Oh, I grew up Muslim. I did this a lot, so it's fine.
Perfect, okay. Things are same, culture's over.
Yeah. And then all over my body?
Yeah.
Okay. Doing
Kind of the
that.
head down, flick it off.
Okay.
Okay, flicked it off.
All right, let's try this.
Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah, it feels refreshing.
I want to make that, use that myself. That's pretty great.
Yeah, any white flowers, Florida water.
That's your local drugstore?
Yeah, your local drugstore. And then I'm supposed to have my shoes off. Oh, okay. I was just going to read a prayer real quick because probably the folks that lived in this house and Annie Whipple were probably of some sort of religious background. I'm guessing because she felt so guilty for going down to the tree in the first place and accumulating this stuff from Lady Josephine. So it's kind of an opening prayer just to start the seance kind of
great.
off. I'm mixing seance with spiritual misa or spiritual mass. I'm hoping that using some of my own abilities to kind of amplify, speaking to Annie Whipple or whoever else is in here. Feeling kind of a little woozy headed, so I hope that's a good sign.
Okay.
Okay.
What do we do? Just sit here?
Yeah.
Well, the next morning at breakfast, she was sitting there and supposedly a family member, a cousin, was visiting the Houstons from Philadelphia. He was a medical student. Annie had brought down this paper. She didn't, really think anything of it, but the medical student saw this paper and he goes, what do you have that prescription for? And it turned out that the handwriting was in Latin and it was for a kind of medication. And Annie Whipple said, I don't know, I just found this, what is it? And the medical student said, well, I don't know for sure, but he said, this is a kind of medication and it cures fever and fits and things like that. And Annie said, well, could it help, little Sarah upstairs? And the cousin said, well, I don't know, but maybe go talk to a pharmacist, a chemist, and see what they say. And so Annie took the prescription, went around the corner to a pharmacist and showed it to the man, and he said, yeah, this might help someone who's experiencing fever and fits and things like that. So Annie had this prescription filled. She rushed back, came up the stairs, and administered this medication to the little girl. And sure enough, the color returned to her cheeks. And she became lucid. She looked around, and it's like she regained her consciousness. And so Annie was convinced that Dr. Anderson had helped her. By the end of the day, though, the girl took a turn for the worse, and she kind of fell back into a coma. And so that night, sitting at her desk, she kind of repeated the process. She said, Dr. Anderson, she said, I don't know if, what you gave me was enough or if I did it right, but the little girl isn't doing well. It seemed to help, but she's not doing well. Can you still help me? And again, she kind of fell into a trance. She fell into a deep sleep. And when she woke up, there was this paper with this handwriting in a language, which she found out was Latin.
Yeah, I guess it'd be a good time to meditate and just open yourself up. But saying out loud, maybe in your head, open to this experience, but not exactly any extra things. We're seeking specific people here. Hopefully Dr. Anderson. Just in case, I'll get this ready, hopefully nearby. I'm so nervous because they have such a nice spread here and I have ink. And I'm gonna throw dirt on things. Okay. We ask the Divine Spirit and all of our spirit guides and guardians be here tonight to watch over our work. We ask that only good spirits be present and that our spirit companions protect us from harm and mischief, from any troubled spirits who may be attached, attract, or sent to this place. And while I get ready, I'll just say an Our Father. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread.
What was that?
I heard that. Somebody out there? Go look real quick.
Yes.
Right over here.
Yeah.
If you please come and talk to us. I'm just talking under my breath so that you spirits may hear me and those boys can go do their things and hopefully find you. I ask that you please work through my hand and only my right hand and not the rest of my body. If you have something that you wish to say, you may communicate it through my hand and only my hand. I do not give you permission to go through the rest of my body to take residence in there or in my brain. Thank you. It's kind of important to be specific.
So right now we're recreating exactly what Annie Whipple is said to have done to try and save the children that became ill. So we're trying to see if we can have any results here with Angelique in this process.
Dr. Anderson, you helped our friend Annie Whipple many, many years ago in this very same house. We ask if you are available, or Annie Whipple. Annie Whipple, are you available to speak to us? Any of the Houstons? I know this is the Russell Houston mansion. You used to run the railroad. Annie Whipple, was that you I saw walking up the back stairs 10 years ago?
And the same thing, the next day at breakfast, she asked the visiting cousin, the medical student, if it was something that might help the little girl. It was a different medication this time, but he said, yeah, this could help fever and fits. And she went to the pharmacist and kind of explained the situation, and the pharmacist said, well, yeah, this could probably help her. And she came back and the same thing, rushed up the stairs, gave the medication to the girl, and the same thing happened. She came to, she became lucid, color returned to her cheeks, and Annie Whipple was convinced that she had cured the little girl. But the second day, by the end of the day, the same thing happened. The little girl took a turn for the worse, and she kind of fell back into a coma.
Please don't be shy. We mean you no harm. I've waited a long time to meet you, and I didn't introduce myself properly that many years ago. Hi, I'm Angelique. I walk around your house all the time. Elizabeth Houston, are you here? Miss Whipple, could we have your attention, please?
You're upstairs. Please come down and join us.
You have a seat at the table here for you?
Pressure changing.
Pressure changes. This is the first time we've had any changes in the environment.
Oh, move my book. How rude of me. I brought a book to the table.
Which one had a pressure change?
Right
This
here.
one.
Okay, because I sensed on mine the pressure went up. I don't know if it went up or down on yours, but it's higher. On that, for some reason, it's 1 millibar higher on that sensor right next to the EDI.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Closest to her, I guess.
If that was someone trying to communicate with us, can you please make that device turn on again if you saw that there was a series of lights that were flashing? If that was you, can you do that one more time, please? Honestly, it was very interesting. We started hearing the noises on the stairs, and then we're starting getting pressure changes right here, closest to Angelique.
Annie, did you know that you actually helped young Elizabeth? That you don't have to feel guilty anymore? I'm sorry if me saying your name about every day keeps you earthbound here. But if you like to be here, we'd love to talk to you.
Candles just started flickering
This one
like
right
crazy.
flickered, yeah.
Should be interesting to capture with the thermal seals with that. We should show the heat signatures going up.
Annie, I was trying to redo your ceremony that Lady Josephine taught you at the Witch's Tree to hopefully see if I could contact you or perhaps Dr. Anderson, maybe even little Elizabeth.
Well, that night, Annie Whipple repeated the process. She sat at her desk, laid out the paper, lit the candle, said the prayer, sprinkled it with the magic powder, invited Dr. Anderson to come and help her, and she fell into a trance. And the same thing, she woke up and she found this paper with handwriting. It looked like a different kind of handwriting, a different kind of language, but this time she didn't even bother asking. She ran to the pharmacist the next day. She had the prescription filled. She came back, rushed up the stairs to the little girl's bedroom, gave her the medication, and this time the little girl started seizing and frothing at the mouth and convulsing. And it was so serious that they had to call the doctor. And the doctor came, and when he saw the medication that had been given to the little girl, he said, "You know, you stupid woman, why would you give her this?" She said, "This is going to kill her. You know, this is not something you give someone who's experiencing fever and fits." And they gathered the family together, and they told the family to call the priest because the doctor said by the time the sun came up the next morning, the little girl would be dead. There was no chance of her surviving.
We don't mean any harm, no disrespect. We're here just to speak with you and possibly document your presence.
We captured a disembodied voice on our Masonic microphone in a direct response to our questions during the seance.
Possibly document your presence.
Is it stating Annie's name?
So I went from a steady 1 to a steady 1.3.
1.3. Yeah, it's about. Actually, it's funny you said there's a 1.3 over here too. Now, what this is saying is it's Wi-Fi/phone. So
Okay.
again, most likely it could be the data getting from these devices to. I mean, it's a certain packets that it comes in. So that makes sense. But if there's a drop or a sudden increase, but that wouldn't make sense. It's a good baseline to see though.
So far, we've had a change in the pressure on both these devices, right? The EDI Plus as well as your device, right? Zach?
Yeah, I had, that one was higher. That one's still a little higher. I don't know if it's because there's other stuff around it.
Right.
But that one is the closest to her, so I don't know. But it was interesting that, it was right next to the EDI, and they both captured a
Yeah, so they
pressure change.
correlated together. There's a correlation between the two devices.
Exactly. And hopefully, we have the Masonic mic, so that's right there too, like if there was anything.
Did you guys just feel the table start shaking a little bit?
I felt a vibration in my seat.
I didn't feel it over here.
I had my hands on the table, so
I felt like the whole table was like shaking for a
It's a
second.
heavy oak
It's
table,
a very
too.
heavy
I was
table.
gonna say, even if we hit it a little bit, that'd be.
Yeah, like it was
What
weird.
was it?
Like
What was it like a? Like
I live in California. It felt like an earthquake.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
It was like that, just like that. Small
When you
tremble.
mentioned it, I felt it in like my seat as well. So it made me feel like I wondered, but my feet didn't feel it.
No.
I have like my shoes off.
Is there any suggestions or anything you can do? Because the four of us, Malia is not going to be here, but the four of us are going to stay the night here. Is there anything you can do to like open the energy or make things a little more, open? Is that a possibility? Is there something that you can
Zhuzh up the ghosts.
Just try talking to him.
I want to see if the Tesla coil maybe will charge up the environment, just to see. I know, like, just without sensors and data, the hair on the back of my arms and stuff, like my hair on my arms, everything sticks up. You kind of feel the charged area. There is enough potential electricity to create interesting dynamics in the environment. I know I've had an experience where I had a Tesla coil going on for a while, and then I actually got a big jolt of electricity go through my arm, like 5 feet away from the coil, touching a door. I don't know if that's paranormal or not, but I just know it does create a really interesting electrical dynamic in the entire room. So there's 30,000 volts going through this. So I mean, you could touch it. It's very low amperage, but it could do weird things with the equipment. So we'll see what happens.
Whoa.
It's gonna be loud.
Shocking. Yeah, on the third floor, I believe this is where I know people have mentioned hearing things up here. I know there's indentations that occurred on the bed.
Yeah.
So if there are any entities here, maybe we can create a conduit of energy for them with this Tesla coil.
I would love to see, like, do you know what bed it was that she had the indentation on?
I think it's been a majority of these rooms up here.
Really? There's more than one. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if we can amp up the environment to give it energy, I'm going to turn this up. I don't know. Audio might be hard to hear us talk.
Okay.
But it's going to be a little. It does burn a little bit, but.
Okay. Whoa! Look at the light. Look at the light.
What's that? What is it?
Look at the light.
Oh.
Don't burn the house down, Zach.
You know what it is? I mean, that's how strong the coil is.
So what I'm gonna do, guys, I'm gonna set this EVI Plus right here on this bed, because that's where they're seeing this indent, which actually, if you come in here and look, it almost looks like there's an indent right now.
On the
Look at
bed?
this.
Was that there before?
Look.
No.
Did anyone sit here? Mustafa, you gotta see this, man.
Oh man, I wish we had a control though of that.
I know.
Wait, Malik, can you see that camera? That's interesting.
Okay. If there's someone in here with us and you just sat down on this bed where this indent is, can you touch that orange box right there and make the lights go on and off? It's not gonna harm you. We come here with respect. We are not here to disrespect you or cause harm of any kind.
Yeah, because that was like you could see like a defined pattern.
Yeah.
It wasn't like over here, like the bed does indent a bit. I mean, it's maybe an older mattress or
Right.
whatever. So I could see that, but like.
Yeah, like I mean, it's like
you
a.
can see an impression. So if you were to sit,
Yeah.
like something
Yeah, like
laying there.
this whole part right
Yeah.
here.
So she came to this room. She was sitting at her desk, and as they were tending to the little girl, as they were making preparations for her death, Annie Whipple was sitting at the table, her writing desk, and she saw the parchment, she saw the pen, she saw the candle, the satchel of magic powder, the prayer. She started wondering, what had gone wrong. And she started kind of wondering out loud, Dr. Anderson, why did you do this? I thought you were going to help me. And then she got angry and she cursed Dr. Anderson. She said, damn you, Dr. Anderson, you were supposed to help me. And anyone who knows about the paranormal knows you never curse people on the other side. But Annie Whipple did it anyway. And as soon as she said, damn you, Dr. Anderson, she said she felt kind of a rumbling in the floorboards, and the lights and the sconces on the wall began to flicker on and off. And all of a sudden, Annie Whipple fell into a trance, unbidden this time, but it was like a half trance. She said she was fully aware of what was going on, but she had no control over her body. And all of a sudden, her limbs started to lift, and her arms and hands started to flail as if she was a marionette. And She said one hand grabbed the pen that was on the table, the other grabbed the paper that was there, and she started slashing the paper with the pen, and then she started marring and chipping the wood of the desk. She just started going crazy. For a minute or two, she just slashed and tore everything apart. And then all of a sudden, things got still, and there was one little scrap of paper she hadn't destroyed, and with her other hand, she saw her pen quickly scrawl across the scrap of paper, "You fool, I'm not Dr. Anderson." And at that, Annie Whipple fell into a heap on the floor. And in the room next door where they were tending to the little girl, they heard her collapse on the floor. They came in and found her unconscious. They took her to her, put her to bed, and she had several lucid moments before, the day broke. But in between, she was able to tell them what had happened and how she had been supposedly contacting the spirits. And when the sun came up, Annie Whipple was dead. The strange thing is, though, the little girl was cured. And what they think happened was that third night, maybe a spirit that wasn't Dr. Anderson kind of intercepted the message and wanted to teach her a lesson for dabbling in the black arts. In the end, Annie Whipple forfeited her life in exchange for the little girl's, which is what she would have wanted in the end. And so they say ever since then, the spirit of Annie Whipple has been seen running up and down the stairs, as she was going from the pharmacist to the little girl's bedside to her room, trying to cure the little girl.
All right, so we set up the EMCCD camera and Zach's photon intensifier. So we have it on the staircase. That's where people report seeing this woman walking down. Angelique, I know she said that she saw somebody walking down the stairs.
The film crew left myself, Kevin, Mustafa, and Zach alone on location for the night. We ran tests with both the photon intensifier and electron multiplying camera in the controlled environment. The footage you are about to see is one of the most shocking pieces of visual data ever collected on the EMCCD camera. Our research into the legend of Annie Whipple has proven it's mostly just that, a legend.
Can we even prove that she's an actual human being? And the answer to that, at least that portion of the story, is not really.
This is a legend, and legends usually are inherently false. So I found no actual written proof that there ever was an Annie Whipple.
And while it's tempting to attribute the shocking find on the stairwell as proof of Annie's existence, another paranormal phenomena may hold the answer: thought form manifestation. Do one's thoughts and emotions affect a location's environment in ways we have only begun to explore? Can a person's belief create what we perceive to be paranormal phenomena? We've learned through our continued research that not all hauntings are the same, and the former Houston house, with its legend of Annie Whipple, has expanded our study of the elements of a haunting. This stunning find will be incorporated into our journey and will hold profound implications for all unexplained phenomena we investigate.
I believe it is an active location. I believe that this building, Bethlehem Academy, has a lot of history, and I do not believe you can have paranormal without history. So with that being said, the many hats that this building has worn definitely is part of the reason why I feel like it is haunted, active, however you'd like to say it.
In the world of paranormal ideas, ley lines aren't that old of an idea. It was based on the idea that there's like geo-energies or earth energies, which are these sort of lines of power. I think that idea has some merit.
I had high expectations for what I was going to do with it. My wife ran into some tragedy a few years back, and kind of put a stop on all the plans we had. I don't think that I'll be able to part with it, because just looking back at my own history and the regrets I have on what I didn't do with my wife and what I didn't spend time with her on. My wife was always adamant to just be very courteous, because if you think about it, we talked about how the nuns were. They were very rule-oriented. There was a priest on premises at all times, so it was very important to them at the time to follow the rules.
Our journey throughout Kentucky, started with me trying to acquire not only a home, but a paranormal research facility that I'll be conducting year-round research. And meeting all these fantastic people from museums to, homes, bed and breakfasts. And here at the Bethlehem Academy, it's given me a true insight to what it's like to live and operate in said haunted places. But I think this location, this specific place, kind of sums our entire research up into one place. It's pretty emotional, to be honest. It's a big decision for me to, uproot my family, move to a new state, live in a facility like this. It's a huge decision, but I think that, meeting these people, investigating these locations, learning about the history, I think I'm getting closer to making that decision. Everyone loves a good ghost story. It doesn't matter if you're a believer, a skeptic, a non-believer, everyone loves a great ghost story. And learning about, the state's history, especially when it comes to the occult and witchcraft, I think that those different styles of belief and those different belief systems play a huge part into what we believe to be a haunting and what, eyewitnesses throughout the last 100 years, going even further, have, experienced and witnessed. But it's interesting to look at it from a point of view of, does belief manifest paranormal phenomena?
Well, first of all, Vincent, thank you so much for inviting us to your abandoned girls' school. I can honestly say this is the first time I've ever been to an abandoned girls' school, so thank you.
Happy to have you on, Malia.
If you wouldn't mind introducing yourself and telling us your relationship with the building.
My name is Vincent Thompson. I'm a lifelong resident of Hardin County, Kentucky. Live in a small town called Rineyville, and my family's lived in this area for generations. Had several aunts that attended school here, several great aunts, and I think even some great aunts and some other cousins. So a lot of family history. And then, I came upon the auction back in 2014 and decided I was going to take the gamble.
What inspired that? I mean, I know it sounds like you have deep familial connections with the building, but that's a big undertaking. This building is what, 8,000 square feet? It's humongous. It's cold, it's old, it's amazing, it's historic, but what made you want to purchase the building?
I saw it come up for auction. Like I said, it was posted mid-2014. I actually just bought our house for my family, for my wife, in end of 2013. I wish I'd have held off on that house and waited till for this one because we were just moved into here. But I knew my wife had a lot of passion for paranormal studies and the otherworldly, and so it was kind of a passion project that I passed on for her. But I wasn't going to do it if it hadn't been for the price that I was able to get it at. So the fates kind of aligned, I guess.
And you said your wife was interested in the paranormal. Can you speak more on that?
By her own account, she was a self-declared medium. She also dealt with some tarot card reading, and she said she had a very kindred connection with the spirit world, and she found very kindred spirits here at Bethlehem Academy.
Did she ever commune with spirits here, and did she ever tell you about those experiences?
She did, and she would tell me about them, and if I could go back in time, I would not have given the eye rolls that I gave, given that I'm not a believer. But no, she would share some stuff with me. It gave her a lot of stuff to focus on, especially when she started having her health problems around 2015.
Now, we are a paranormal show, and so of course, we're always curious if people have died on the property. I can imagine, given those illnesses and the fact that this is a working farm, there had to have been some people that have died on the property. Do you know of any?
I was able to confirm 2 definite deaths, but you have to take into account that they had children, and up until the early 1900s, children passed away pretty regularly, along with women in childbirth. So there was a cemetery on site that when they closed the school in the 50s, they moved it to Loretto, Kentucky. And there's just one simple plaque recognizing all the people in the cemetery. But the 2 that I was able to confirm was there was a nun, and of course they used oxen to pull their plows. And the nun got caught between the oxen and the wall. And oxen are not mean, they're typically very docile creatures, but they're 2,000 plus pounds. And you got a nun who's probably 100, 125 maybe, and she just got caught in the wrong place. And then another one was a nun that we weren't able to really confirm what happened to her, but those were the 2 we had confirmed. But I know they had a cemetery, so they definitely had people pass away on the property.
So the building is currently in quite a state. Do you have plans for the building in the future?
We have worked on it piecemeal since I've purchased it. Again, I had high expectations for what I was going to do with it. My wife ran into some tragedy a few years back, and kind of put a stop on all the plans we had. But I've got a lot of support from the community. I'm very much tethered to it. People have always asked me if I'd be willing to sell it. I was immediately approached after the auction because the price that I got it for was a very good price. And the day that the auction happened, there's a local festival called Cecilia Days. Well, everybody was at Cecilia Days, and they were aiming to come to the auction, and they got caught in traffic, or they got caught by a train. And they got here, and the auctions typically last, I don't know, an hour or so. This auction, I think, was over in 10 minutes. And by the time they got here thinking it would be going on and people would still be bidding on it, I was already signing the paperwork. People asked me what I was going to do with it once she passed away. I don't think that I'll be able to part with it, because just looking back at my own history and the regrets I have on what I didn't do with my wife and what I didn't spend time with her on, we had a lot of time here together, and I won't rule out that there's a dollar amount that might buy it from me, but it's probably going to be much more significant than maybe the property is worth, because there's definitely a connection here.
Do you feel that you see your wife in this house?
I've started telling everybody that the only ghost I ever see in this place is hers, because when I go through here, I just remember the tours we gave, and the conversations we had, and the picture we took on the front porch, and seeing my daughter playing on the outside, that kind of stuff.
My name is Amy Lawson. We are at Bethlehem Academy, and this place has wore many different hats. It started out as a governor's home, went to a girls' school. It has been a bed and breakfast. It has been a hotel. We have investigated Bethlehem Academy many times. We've had a door in this room has come open. I was leaning down to actually touch the REM pod. The door kind of opened up toward me. It was able to open on cue. I believe it is an active location. I believe that this building, Bethlehem Academy, has a lot of history, and I do not believe you can have paranormal without history. So with that being said, the many hats that this building has worn definitely is part of the reason why I feel like it is haunted, active, however you'd like to say it.
Bethlehem Academy has a piece of my heart. I mean, it honestly does. And anything I can do to help this place, I'll go out of my way to do it anytime. After about the second visit here, something in me changed. I'm really not sure what happened, but I feel connected to this place in a way. I was in the attic, and I had an experience up there that it really changed the way I looked at things. They said flashlight, like plain as day when I had my flashlight pointed in the corner. It said a full name, and I mean, I was in shock. At one point, I was in the library, and I pointed at a book, and I said, "Can you tell me what the name of this book is?" And it read the name of the book to me. I knew when I stepped inside that I was meant to come here. That's what it felt like to me. Now, I know that's speculation, but that's how it feels to me. Like, I have no evidence to back that up, that I was meant to be here. But I feel at home here. I can't explain it. This is my favorite place in the state of Kentucky, without a doubt. I can't think of any other place I would rather be. It's always led me to believe that either this place is haunted with active spirits, or it's a very powerful residual energy that's in here that comes about at the right time.
Prior to our investigation, we consulted with Kyle Cadell and Darian West about the strange geological makeup that is unique to specific areas of Kentucky.
Most of Kentucky is what's known as a karst region, and that basically means it's pockmarked with sinkholes and caves everywhere. Mammoth Cave, of course, sprawls over a lot of Kentucky, and it's the longest cave system in the world. Basically, this entire area just has all these tunnels, either man-made or nature-made, going underneath it as kind of conduits, I believe, to different things going on the surface level of Kentucky. Some of the strange phenomena that we have, I definitely think the caves are kind of almost passageways, gateways for some of the weird energy that we have going on here in the state that really seems to just follow all these lines of cave formations and everything. Thousands of years ago, this whole area of Appalachia was known as the Void. A lot of Native Americans and indigenous peoples believed that this whole area was closer to the other side of reality than the rest of America or the rest of the land. Think about that's thousands of years of people pumping the belief that this area is magical into it. So it's a chicken and egg. Was this area this crazy place before people started believing it? Or was all of the thought process and all the beliefs in it just pumping magical energy into this area that's made it this wild place it is? I absolutely believe that belief has a lot of power in forming reality or the fringes of reality. I think that, in traditional magic work, all the tools and spell things aren't what creates the magic. It attunes you as the magic practitioner to be able to create the magic yourself. So these are all just tools to make your mind in the right mindset to be able to do whatever you're trying to do with the magic. So I think that that's what a lot of belief, and especially belief in, reality-ish is, We all believe that there is something out there, and so it starts to manifest and react to us.
I think a lot of work was done on this idea that, especially in the esoteric literature, if you go back to the sort of Hermeticism and the beginnings of Hermetic philosophy in general, there is sort of an idea that this is consensus reality. This is the reality that we're all sort of agreeing is the real one, and that underneath that is sort of a superstructure or a more elaborately designed, hyper-designed system that is being manifested apart from our own beliefs and intentions. In the world of paranormal ideas, ley lines aren't that old of an idea. So they're really kind of come out of some work in the 1920s by a guy named Alfred Watkins. And it was based on the idea that there's geo energies or earth energies, which are these sort of lines of power. And the way that they were sort of came across this idea is to lay out all of the ancient settlements and prehistoric features of England or the British Isles, and then drawing lines between all of them, and then seeing if there were things that lined up on those lines, right? So I think that idea has some merit, and there's definitely some of the work that we've been doing with Pennyroyal on the Kentucky anomaly issue, or the idea that the geomagnetic energy has something to do with people's minds or their thoughts.
It's actually the very center of what NASA deemed in the 70s as the Kentucky anomaly. And the Kentucky anomaly is something that they didn't really do enough research to figure out what was going on, so it's technically still unsolved. But its gravity is different here than anywhere else in the world. And it's heavier. And every time, where we are, the Van Allen belts around the globe actually dip down to try to touch the globe right over Kentucky because of how heavy the gravity is. And there's a lot of different ideas like why this is. There's only one other area in the globe in Russia where it's kind of like gravity is similar to here, but it's not as pronounced as an effect. And so there's a lot of ideas of what this is, but one of the things we think that coincides with that is we are standing on one of the largest quartz deposits in the country, you know, and quartz is a naturally occurring rock that resonates, where basically it amplifies electromagnetic activity and bounces it back out. And we know that electromagnetic activity is one of the things we look for in ghost investigation and any sort of like paranormal investigation. And we know that from science, like previous medical trials and stuff, that EM affects the human brain. So what kind of effect does it have being in an area where we're literally being pulled by gravity a little bit more than anywhere else in the world towards this quartz that may or may not be messing with our mind and making us hear voices and seeing shit that's not there.
So one of the things that I thought about when I guess we were all talking about what could this mean, like what could this geomagnetic anomaly really mean? And so I thought that it would have a lot to do with some sort of psychological angle. There has to be some sort of correlation between these electromagnetic fluctuations, whether it's through the piezoelectric effect or something like that, that there has to be some effect on the local culture, you know? And so if you look at places with these huge spikes of geomagnetic energy, they are usually in places where there's a lot of psychosis. And so there is a lot of precedent for this having some sort of psychological effect on people. And that's kind of was our angle in digging into it from the beginning, I think.
Which is not exclusively an us idea. Like if you look, we are one of the largest geomagnetic spikes if you look at the map of Kentucky of it, or of the United States, but two of the other ones are Sedona and Cassadaga in Florida, the psychic retreat, psychic capital of the world in Cassadaga. And so it's not just a new idea that we've discovered, it's something that maybe hasn't completely been like explained, but has been picked up by people for ever, you know, for hundreds of years, you know?
We're about to conduct one of the biggest experiments I've ever conducted in my 17 years of research. Not only are we going to combine some of this new tech that Kyle and Darren are using, but we're going to test the paranormal photon theory. There's always a really, big emotional element to investigating the paranormal. And one thing Mustafa and I talk about a lot is the possibility of pseudo-hauntings, thought form manifestations, things of that nature. Does belief manifest phenomena? And I think that this experiment that we're about to conduct is the perfect, not only theory, but the perfect experiment to try and test those theories. All right, Darren and Kyle, thanks so much for joining us on this, man. This has been something I've been looking forward to since we started talking about this project, and really excited to see how this works out. And again, if you can explain to us exactly what this is doing and what the purpose will be for this experiment.
Right, so what we're doing is measuring the local entropy. It's measuring it specific to the device, but with the idea that the local environment, there would be distortions in randomness, or entropy is the measurement of randomness. So what we've done is we're using the Shannon's method of measuring entropy, which is the guy that created information science. And it is taking and measuring tons of points, but it's averaging out the last 25 measurements. And then that is forming the sort of, if you can think of it like the weather patterns of entropy, that's kind of what that's doing. If you just measured it per measurement, it's a very up and down thing. So we're just measuring what it does. And then that measurement, when it passes a threshold, it turns on this outlet right here. And it will make that light turn on and off when I plug it into that.
So here we're running the EMCCD camera, and what we're doing, and we've been doing this for a few years now, Mustafa and I, is we're testing what we call the paranormal photon theory, right? So working with Dr. Clore and other scientific consultants, they suggested that photons may be the mechanics behind what we perceive to be ghosts. So what we've noticed in our research is that in said haunted locations, photons are showing up in conjunction with pressure changes. And we're starting to see there's a change right there. but we're starting to see that pattern and that correlation. So running this with this, random generator, can this possibly predict an event? So if this, predicts something, right, and changes, I hope maybe in some way we can capture a photon event. So yeah, I'm hoping that they can correlate in some way. So I mean, we've been talking about this for a while now, and having you guys here with this amazing device that you're using, I think this is kind of building up to everything we've been looking for here in Kentucky, and hopefully this theory will, provide to be fruitful.
Yeah, absolutely. This is our first big field test with this device, so we're really excited to see, what exactly is going to happen and what kind of evidence we can get with it.
So currently the light is on because we're above that threshold, and when it goes below the threshold, and it's in the Paralabs research, the
Right. Changes here. Yeah. Oh, to see that photon event that happened right there? A really quick. Oh,
that's
there we go.
That's interesting.
So, yeah, because, so when we weren't all collectively observing this.
There it is again.
I was upstairs by myself watching this, and then we have this recorded as well. It was in there for about, I would say 45 minutes. It's almost, about 45 minutes. No changes.
Right there,
Oh, there was. Photon event. There was.
In conjunction.
Yeah.
That's the first one I've seen. That's awesome.
So we're testing this, this
now the
idea
environment's changing.
that belief can manifest activity and stuff from happening. We're not talking about it, we're not looking at it, nothing's going on. Then we start talking about it, and now it's happening.
Yeah.
So again, we were having the environmental changes there. It was pressure, temperature changes as well. And then you saw that photon event take place at the same time as.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're going for.
Photon event right there.
Oh yeah. So I wonder about those patterns where it's like.
Yeah.
It's like
almost a response.
Yeah.
Let's maybe just here we go. Some more changes here. And what's great is we're recording the data internally on the EDI Plus, so we can go back and correlate that.
Oh, nice.
But I think it was really interesting that we had this environmental change, then we had this device going off, and then you saw that photon event there.
And what's really cool is the reason why we situated the EDI Plus and the EMCCD camera in this particular stairway is because almost every single location, I'd say half of all the locations we've cumulatively investigated, there's always a claim of a woman in white walking down a stairwell. It's like classic ghost shit.
Changes again.
Oh, there it is.
Right, yet again.
Yeah.
It's almost perfectly on time. That's really strange. But the big question is, why are these photon events, showing up in these said haunted locations? Like, is it something that's completely natural that we just don't understand in science at this moment, or is it possibly related to what we believe to be haunting?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because is this what's causing the haunting or perception of hauntings, or is whatever's happening in a haunting causing this kind of events, like changing real world science?
Right, exactly. Mustafa, do you want to go into that room and maybe try and get a dialogue going and see if we can get anything going? So there's the control camera in there that'll be able to see you.
Okay.
And we'll monitor from here.
All right.
Sound good?
Yeah.
So I think the idea here is, or one of the theories that we're testing is, can, like you were talking about earlier, belief manifesting, phenomena. Right?
Yeah.
So Mustafa going in there and kind of almost, thought projection about, this woman that's seen here, these nuns that are seen in the building, can that create an event? That would be interesting.
Exactly, yeah. Because he's absolutely, I definitely think that someone looking for phenomena is as equal of a part as phenomena showing itself.
Right.
It's a tree in the forest type thing, as
exactly.
we were talking about. So it's fascinating to think about, like, the human element affecting what we perceive as the outskirts of reality,
Well, the experiment kind of started off with a freaking bang. Right when we started observing the EMCCD camera's footage, we have a live feed of the EMCCD camera. It's looking right up the stairwell where a lot of people said that, there was stuff happening in the attic, and this classic ghost story of a woman in white walking down the stairs. So why not point the EMCCD camera up on it? We had an EDI Plus there. Right when we all collectively started observing it, it seemed like this hypothesis that observing and addressing and believing and trying to manifest something worked. We started getting photon events appearing right at the top of the stairs. We started getting all these environmental changes, temperature drops, increases in correlation with pressure aberrations. It was freaking wild. So we're really stoked to see that. And then while that was going on, I hear this clicking, and I'm like, what the hell is this clicking? And then I'm like, oh wait, that's the experiment that Kyle and Darian are doing with the randomizer that they have with this lamp that's hooked up to this lamp. What was really cool is that, the lamp would turn on and off, and that kind of seemed like, all right, that was normal. It's calibrating, or I don't know how to explain this, I'm not a scientist, but what I do know is that every time there was like a syncopatic rhythm, like pop, 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 where there would be almost like a rhythm of the light turning on and off, that same rhythm was always in correlation with photon events.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens bringing you into the investigation and see if you make a connection with these girls.
Yep.
And then it's probably be important for you to be alone if we're testing this male-female energy theory. We'll have you go in there with Emily, and you guys can be there, and
Yeah.
probably won't be like a nun. with
Yeah,
jagged
probably.
teeth.
Probably.
And at least not one that you'll see. We'll see it from Nerve Center, but
Oh, cool. Yeah, just be sure to tell me to run.
no, you're on your own.
We gotta collect as much data as possible, so we're gonna do that.
So what I'm gonna do, Malia, is I'm gonna go ahead and get this recorder going for you, and you can just take
Okay.
it up with you and just, I'll get it recording now. So you can take
Okay.
it just set it on the floor in there,
Got it.
and then just go over some of the history. I think in particular, we can talk about this nun that was killed by the
Yeah.
ox. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Do you remember her name by any chance?
Sister Bernadine Thompson.
Right. Okay, so I think we should try and reach out to her maybe
Okay,
and
cool.
see what happens.
Oh. So this is my room. I see. Okay. Here we go. Wait, so you guys want this on the top of the stairs, yeah?
Yeah, about the midway point.
The midway, like put it in the middle of the stairwell.
You got it.
Thank you.
That looks great, doesn't it?
It looks
That
really
good, guys?
It looks good. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So I understand this was a girls' school for 128 years. That is quite a long time to be a school. I heard you guys cared for 75 girls a term, which is a lot of girls. And it seems like you guys really made a huge impact. I hear you guys were on the cutting edge of female studies. You actually gave business courses to the girls in the 1800s, and I have to applaud you guys for actually trying to get women out there. And I would love to chat with any of the students that might be here, any of the sisters that might be here. I have a couple cool little devices here if you guys want to potentially say something to me. All you have to do is talk and we will hear you. For all intents and purposes, this was a female space. We know that a priest had to be here, but it was really you guys that ran the show. Is it okay that a bunch of guys are moving around?
So far, it's been pretty quiet after this experiment, man, which is interesting. You know what I mean? I think that takes it even a step further with, our theory and the hypothesis, right? The hypothesis behind it.
I think so. I mean, we're here trying to really manifest something with our own thoughts. Super excited. The place was very, very creepy. And we have all of these ideas about the hauntings that could be behind here. So I kind of had to, and we all did collectively as a team, like mentally disassociate ourselves from the real emotional story that Vincent told us, along with a lot of the things we wanted to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we want to see things manifest. So, take a little break, disassociate ourselves from that, really come at it from an empirical standpoint, and
yeah. Oh, motion detectors went off.
What?
Look.
Well, okay, that's really interesting because that's the door that Amy, who we interviewed.
Oh, that's when she said that opened.
Yeah.
We've had a door in this room has come open. I was leaning down to actually touch the REM pod. The door kind of opened up toward me. It was able to open on cue.
No, I was saying what was really crazy is in my mind, what I was thinking was it's a lot more fun and fulfilling to to try to manifest it and believe in it. Because like right now, I'm not really having much fun just like observing. It's kind of boring like that.
Well, look, it went off again.
It went off again.
Okay, this is interesting. And again, this is the door that, whoa. This is the door that they say opens, right?
Yeah, this door, she said it opened by itself. Is there somebody here who could open that door for us, please?
If you're here, can you set off that blue light again? Make that turn on? It went off twice. If you can turn that on one more time, that'd be fantastic. That would let us know that you're here with us.
Man, this place is in pretty bad condition, huh? It's sad to see a place start to fall apart. Vincent's trying really hard to keep this place afloat, and the community feels very strongly about this building. Is there anything you would like me to relay to Vincent? Parts of the house he should focus on, places he should avoid?
So this didn't set it off. So when you set this down,
no.
This is the one I'm holding, but you have to literally.
Yeah, you have to get right in front of it.
Okay, let me check. So you can see, there's nothing in here.
Empty room.
Unless this toilet's moving in front of the door and going back by itself.
Yeah, that would be freaky.
I know. Ghost toilet.
Whoa. Whoa. This door's closing, dude. You heard that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Is it speaking?
No, it was like moving. It actually, did you see it on the camera moving?
Okay, well.
Hold on. Can you close that door more, please?
Do you guys not want to talk to him? Is there something about him that intimidates you? Why is it that his wife Samantha was able to get so much activity and yet nothing ever happened when he was in the house?
We came here into the Moses room to look into the claim of this door opening, just get a feel for the room itself. And not only do we have the motion detector going off multiple times here in front of this door that is said to open, but when we went in to check that room to see if there was anything in there, we've seen a couple of animals in the property. We walk in, that door started to close behind us. And we had our control camera over here running, so I hope that we had it on that camera, but you definitely could hear it. And when I looked over, we definitely saw it starting to close.
Why don't you want to communicate with Vincent? He loves this place. His daughter loves this place. He wants to hold on to this place. What's it like having tourists come and parade in groups through your space? Because your private space. Is that okay?
It's really weird that that motion detector hasn't gone off since we opened that door. Went in there, that door started to close. It's like,
yeah,
something left.
Huh?
It's like something left or whatever was.
Yeah, whatever was here. It's like the room was empty for a while, and then we came in, and then happened. That was kind of like what happened in the experiment. Right at the start of it,
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff started going off, and then.
If there is someone here with us, again, we want to just introduce ourselves. My name is Brandon, Mustafa here. We come here with the fullest respect for yourself in this building. Just want to possibly speak with you and possibly document your presence. Are you here? Oh.
What happened?
This door's closing again.
Someone's there. Could you shut that door, please? If you'd like to communicate with us, we set up a variety of different devices. There's a white egg-shaped device up on the balcony above me by the chandelier. Somebody just...
That was me.
A lot of people have come in here and they have written some things on the walls. They have vandalized your property. They've even painted some satanic things in your basement. This was a house of worship. How do you feel about satanic symbology being in your basement?
My fucking shoulder is burning.
Your shoulder's burning?
Yeah. Like really bad.
Ah. Yeah?
Dude. Right here. It was weird. It was like a hot sensation. It was like I got bit by a bug or something.
Right here?
Yeah, like right here.
We're gonna have to check that out, dude.
Ah, dude, no, seriously. It's like I've never felt anything like that before. Fucking A, it's like right here.
Let me get some. Let's see.
No? Like
a little redness.
Right here?
It's like a redness
Like
right here a little bit. There's like a redness right here. Right there. Oh shit, it's getting really red, dude.
Is it?
Right over here.
Where?
Yeah. Let me take a photo.
He's got like 2 scratches right by his neck.
What?
You see that right here?
Oh yeah.
Right here?
Shit.
Dude, it fucking
Oh,
dude. What the hell, dude?
They're almost like claws.
Dude, it hurts, dude.
Dude, it looks like you've been bit, bro.
No, those are like scratches.
Are you kidding me right now?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You're not kidding.
I'm not
Like,
kidding, bro.
Look,
what the hell?
Let's check this one off.
All right.
You swear you're not.
I'm not kidding. I'm gonna take a photo right now. Dude, check.
It's more up by your neck. But
Yeah,
like,
it's right here.
It fucking burns, dude.
I got a photo. Let me take another one. Dude, that's. And then the motion detector just went off.
Oh man, it's like uncomfortable as hell, dude. It's like my muscles getting super tight. Ow, you serious? Can you send me the photo?
Yeah. So you got these 2 marks
Whoa.
there, and then I'm trying to show that like horseshoe thing, but it doesn't really come out here, but it starts here. But these 2 are the ones that are kind of the craziest.
What the hell is that though? It's not like a bite or anything?
They look like, kind of looks like scratches.
Could you see it on that camera?
yeah, I'm telling you, they look like scratches.
And then the motion detector just went off while we were talking about it, again, while we were distracted by something else.
I don't think it's what's weird though about it is like it doesn't feel negative
Yeah?
to me. Yeah.
It doesn't?
No, I don't feel frightened or scared or like anything. I don't feel worried about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just like it just started like burning on my neck.
Maybe it was kind of like a surprise.
Like right on my neck, like below and then down into my shoulder.
If there's somebody here, there's somebody here who tried to
Touch me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't think it was like a negative thing, if that makes sense. Like, you know what I mean?
I know, it makes sense. I understand.
Like, I didn't feel like it was like someone's trying to harm me or scare me or anything like that.
What did you feel? What was like the inception of it?
It was just like it started out kind of tingling, like
Yeah.
a tingling sensation. I was like, what the hell? And then like I kind of went over here like this to touch it because I have my gloves on, you know what I mean? And I was like, oh shit, it started burning.
You know, everything's creepy, and yet I feel more comfortable here than I have the majority of the locations we've been in, which it makes no sense. And you know, it's freezing. You can see my breath. It's crazy, crazy cold. But it's not that creepy cold. I have to wonder, is it because there is nothing here? Is it the belief that we've been talking about? Is that what people experience when they come here because they want to, because it does look this way? Or do I feel comfortable because I'm a female? And this was a house full of females for 128 years. You know, do I just feel welcome?
What interests me most about Bethlehem Academy is a discussion that I had with Vincent, and it got me thinking a lot about paranormal research in general. What is paranormal investigating? And what are spirits? What are entities that are supposedly haunting locations? And I think we could very well be in a place
that suggests strongly that the memory is the ghost.
People have stories, but you have to come up with proof of that story. You know, you can't just go in with a word of mouth and expect that to be seen as, you know, the truth of what happened.
For the first time ever, I actually had the opportunity to be a part of a team to try to potentially contact these people that I've been researching. And I've never done that before.
The love Vincent has for his late wife Samantha is not only evident through his words, but his actions as well. By working to restore the Bethlehem Academy, it is possible that he himself is practicing thought form manifestation. Our joint experiment with the International Paranormal Research Museum proves that there is some weight to this theory. Whether we consciously addressed the possibility of paranormal activity or attempted to will it into existence, we documented several strange occurrences. Or perhaps the combination of all these factors, all fueled by Vincent's undying love for his late wife.
We were told that we don't have ghosts, we have spirits. But I have had some very strange things happen. The first thing that ever happened to me, I was giving a tour on the 3rd floor and a ball of light went past my eyes. And I wouldn't have thought anything about it, but a second one went by. And it was a cloudy day, no sun.
Whoa. That one
motion detector just went off.
What the hell?
It's a common occurrence to have people in the house experience paranormal activity here inside the museum. We get a lot of activity in Elaine Caldwell's bedroom on the 2nd floor, mostly with visitors. A lot of male visitors refuse to actually go into her room altogether. They feel really uncomfortable when they step in. They say that it feels like they're not wanted in that space, or they get uneasy. We've even had someone get physically ill in that space before and have to excuse themselves to go to the bathroom just because they feel so tense and like they're not wanted in that area. Which makes sense. It's a private bedroom, and Mrs. Caldwell was a private individual.
My name is Brandon Alvis. I'm the founder of the American Paranormal Research Association. My involvement in the paranormal began at a very young age. In 1995, I lost my oldest brother to cancer. In 2004, I lost another brother to suicide. So that sent me on my journey into the unexplained, and 17 years later, I'm looking to take that next step in my research and my life to really fully immerse myself in the possibility of consciousness surviving death. So that's why I'm here in Kentucky, here with Malia, Mustafa, Kevin, to try and find a location for a paranormal research facility, a home for APRA, to really take the scientific study of the paranormal, specifically life after death, to a credible study. One of the biggest things with taking this next step in my research and in my life is the fact that I'm willing to immerse myself into a haunted location, willing to sacrifice a lot to learn more. I'll be putting my family in that situation, which I really want to understand. Is it dangerous? Is it something that it could be detrimental? So that's why I want to come out to these investigations, talk to these people that live in these locations, work in these locations. What's it like operating in a haunted location day in and day out? It's something I really have to think about, but my gut just tells me I need to take that step, that next step for this research. And I hope I find those answers in this journey, and I hope that I make the right decision.
I guess first and foremost, thank you guys so much for joining me on this journey. You know, for a long time, I've been wanting to acquire a haunted location for a research facility for APRA. So thank you guys so much. I've known you guys for a long time. This is fantastic. Malia, what do you know about the Conrad Caldwell house?
It is probably our location that has the most deaths on site, which I think is incredibly fascinating since we do have places that have darker histories, but this place is deeply rooted in familial history. We have 2 prominent Louisville families that have lived in the house. It was also a boarding house. It was also a Presbyterian house for widows, which is what I'm really interested to find out about, because I think over 30 women died in the home, and they even had some of those funerals in the parlor. So I am so excited to get there. I'm so excited to find out more about the house, and I think you guys are gonna lose your minds. I think it's gonna be super active. My name is Malia Molino. I'm a historical researcher. I have been researching history for the better part of 8 years, but I have been obsessed with history my entire freaking life. And the reason why I got into it was a combination of things, but I basically was bored, and I love history. And when I was in LA, I didn't know what to do with myself. So I would go explore all of the places that were supposedly haunted in LA. And I wanted to know, why is this place haunted? What makes it haunted? Like, yeah, sure, the Roosevelt supposedly has ghosts, but who are those ghosts? So I would spend my time researching it, and I would talk the ears off my friends who just frankly didn't care that much, which sucked. It is my absolute passion. I love stories, and I have a crippling fear of mortality. So for me, when I get to learn about a place or the people that lived there in my own way, that's keeping them alive. I grew up in a family that we didn't just believe in the paranormal, it was an accepted fact. Like, oh, your grandma's house is haunted, or so-and-so is in that room. And it would terrify me. I spent my entire life paralyzed of seeing a ghost, being around ghosts, and I've always been incredibly sensitive to energies. So for me, it just became this lifelong need to try to understand what makes a place haunted. Again, I am terrified of death. I need to know that there is something after this. I need to know that we don't just get this one shot and that's it. I need proof. I am both petrified about this journey, but also incredibly excited.
Oh man, just the look of it and just the feeling when you go inside. Not so much when you walk in. I mean, it's just a grand view when you walk in, but getting upstairs in some of those rooms, it just has that vibe. Just kind of the constant feeling of being watched, if you will. And so I'm excited to get in here and, see what's going on, and, some of the people we're going to be talking to, actual descendants of the family that own the house, is going to be awesome. Really excited. My name is Kevin Oddie. I started investigating the paranormal in 2007, so it's been about 15 years now. And part of what got me into the paranormal is hearing so many different stories of things that people have seen and wanting to capture on tape exactly what they've seen. I mean, there's a lot of credible stories from people that have things happen to them in a place that they have no idea the story behind it, and it matches things that other people have reported in different times. Prior to being a paranormal investigator and working in TV production, I worked for a small sheriff's department in Missouri from 2003 until I moved to California in 2009. I feel like my training as an officer really helped the way I investigate, especially after doing so many court cases and stuff like that, because I work on putting together and building a case, presenting evidence for things that I've witnessed, things that I've seen, really diving into it and trying to look behind, what's really going on. So when I heard Brandon was looking for a home for APRA, after recently moving to Kentucky and experiencing some of the things that are here in the history, I reached out to him and told him this is one place he should start looking at.
No, this place is awesome. What I'm really super stoked about is the fact that it was a woman's home more than it was a residential home. So yeah, it has this great familial history. You have the Conrads, who originally built the place. You got the Caldwells, who were there a little longer than the Conrads, but there were all of these women who banded together. Even though they were in the later stages of their lives, they went for life, to have a great life and to build that family and community. And then when you add in all of this really gnarly stuff, we're learning about Kentucky, and everyone here kind of believes in ghosts, everyone believes in hauntings, and everyone we talked to said that if there's any place that's freaking haunted in Kentucky, it's the Conrad Caldwell house. So That gets me all tingling in the right places. My name is Mustafa Gatollari, and the reason why I've been investigating the paranormal for the past 17 years is because I'm obsessed with hauntings, and not just ghosts coming and giving you wet willies in the middle of the night, but the hauntings that people experience on a daily basis. Everyone's haunted by something, whether it's a boyfriend who got dumped and then he's kicking himself for not treating his significant other good enough, or maybe you didn't spend enough time with your grandparents before they passed away. The great thing about my relationship with Brandon, this bromance that everybody talks about, whatever, I like it, I don't care. That we met in the work. There was a like-mindedness in the work, and I'm wholeheartedly confident that we have a team of people who, when the rubber hits the road, not to use a pro wrestling term, when it does, they have no quit in them, and they just want to get answers and they want to get evidence. Everything, no matter what it is, whether it's paranormal investigating or whether you're even dating somebody, so you love me, show me evidence. You haven't come out to hang out with me in a couple of weeks. I'm not bitter, obviously, you can tell. But whatever it is that you're doing, you need to have evidence with it. And I just gotta tell y'all, buckle up, because stuff's about to get weird. Well, maybe, I don't know, I can't promise that. But if it does, it's ghost, baby. Just deal with it.
Dude, this is insane.
I know. Right here. Right here.
Right on the corner.
I know, dude. Oh, shoot, dude. It's even better.
Look at
than
this.
The pictures.
Oh my
She's
God,
like a
guys.
giant peacock.
Look at
she's
that.
So gorgeous.
Holy
Look at that.
That's pretty awesome.
Wow.
It's even better in the sunlight. God, it's beautiful, man.
Look at that. Wow. Look at this, man. This is crazy.
Do you feel like all those faces are just looking at you?
It's limestone, right?
Yeah.
That's huge.
That balcony's cool. It's like you got like a woman waiting for a gentleman callers up there with like a handkerchief.
Exactly. All right, Malia, want to meet with Kate, and we'll get the equipment in the investigation.
All right, see you guys later.
Yeah. Property taxes are probably crazy on that.
Malia meets with Kate Metter, director of the Conrad Caldwell Museum, to explore the home's rich familial history, along with its redoubtable status as the most haunted house in America's most haunted neighborhood, Old Louisville.
Well, Kate, first of all, thank you so much for letting us come and actually investigate in this incredible museum that I am so stoked to talk about. Like, literally, I'm very jealous of your job, and I'm just excited to be here. But go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what you do here at the museum.
Yeah, my name is Kate Metter, and I'm the executive director of the Conrad Caldwell House Museum.
And so the original owner of the house, Theo Conrad, he comes here from France?
He came here from France, the Alsace-Lorraine region of France. He was 17 years old. He had $2 in his pocket. He had family that was already here, but he came to Louisville, Kentucky with the hopes of becoming something, of making something of himself. And so he started as an apprentice in a tannery and eventually worked his way up to owning tanneries, apartment buildings. He really invested in real estate here in Louisville. So he was one of the movers and shakers here at the time.
He's here and he dies in the home.
He dies in the home, yep, in 1905, yeah. So he was very proud of his French heritage. And so the evening that he passed away, he went to the Galt House where they were having a lecture on French heritage. And so he attended, he came home. It was middle of February, very, very cold, went downstairs to check the boiler and make sure that it was working okay. And as he was walking up the basement stairs, he suffered a heart attack, or what he thought was a heart attack. And so he was able to make it up to his second floor bedroom. And apparently there were 7 doctors that were called to see if, what was going on and if there was any sort of anything that they could do to help him. And he ended up passing away before any of those 7 doctors got here.
Wow. So he passes away and his wife's here until she sells it to their friends, the Caldwells?
Yeah, so she lived here, we think, for about a year or so. What's funny is that the Caldwells lived right next door to the Conrads for a very short period of time. So they, other than knowing each other just socially, they also were neighbors.
So I get really excited about the Caldwells because I feel like this is where a lot of the female energy that I'm really excited about with the house comes into play. Because Elaine was from my understanding, really involved in women causes. And then you have her daughter, who's very social, always popping up in the newspapers at, you know, dinners, and they hosted a lot here, from my understanding.
They did.
So William and Elaine's daughter, Grace, went deaf, correct?
She did.
Okay, and so I heard that she went to the same school as Helen Keller to learn how to lip read.
Yes, she did. Helen Keller was a little bit later, but yes, they did go to the same school.
So the family lives here, and Elaine dies. Well, she suffers a stroke, doesn't she?
She does. She suffers a stroke in the house and passes away here.
Wow, okay. So, and then after that, from what I felt like I read in the newspapers, was there something with the estate, like they had to sell it? There was an auction of some of the family items. Like, was there any financial trouble at that time?
So not so much financial trouble, but Elaine passed away about 13 years before William did. William ended up marrying the housekeeper at the time, much later, after this housekeeper and Elaine never had anything to do with each other. They ended up marrying the housekeeper, and when William passed away, there was, you know, some kind of issues with the family and his new wife, and you know, who got the house, who got the furnishings. So there was a little bit of family drama that as we all deal with.
As it happens. So then I feel like the house really starts living its whole second life, right? It becomes a boarding house where I found so many articles of people that met up here, found somebody, got married, and or died here at the time it was a boarding house, and then it becomes the Presbyterian House for Widows, correct?
Yep. So for about 7 years, a woman named Vesta Lastly, I love her name, she ran this as a boarding house for middle-class workers. And then after she was sort of done with that, the Presbyterian Church came in and purchased the home and ran it as a widow's home.
I know there are a lot of obituaries of women that died in this house. Do you know how many people have died in this house?
I mean, at least 30, if not more.
That's nuts.
It is.
That's a lot of people in one house.
Yeah, yeah.
Were there ever any funerals here?
Yes, specifically, you know, we know as early as Theophilus Conrad, he laid in state here in the parlor where we're sitting.
Paranormal claims.
Yes.
What are the most common things that you have heard of people experiencing in the house?
So I say the most common would be the sitting room. Some of the Presbyterian widows still are said to inhabit that space. Elaine Caldwell's bedroom, she's made her presence known. The housekeeper's room, we've had a number of people say that they have felt something off in that room. Definitely the billiards room. William Caldwell is supposedly, his spirit lingers there with the smell of cigars. And then the basement. I mean, we do have a full basement, and that is where Theo suffered his heart attack. So I'm guessing that, you know, his spirit would probably linger in that area too. So we did have an intern a couple of years ago say that she saw the outline of a man dressed in like Victorian attire in the dining room, but I've never heard of anybody in the dining room except for him.
Okay.
And it was a man. I don't really want to know about it.
It's fair. I'd probably honestly be doing the same thing.
Yeah, I keep my head down and I just kind of walk to where I need to go and then be done. If there are any spirits, I know that they're positive spirits and they're happy that we're doing what we're doing, but it still doesn't matter.
Well, finally, do you have any advice for us? Do you have any words of wisdom going into our investigation or things that we should just keep in mind as we're going about it?
I would definitely recommend being extremely respectful of the space, because I do, from different accounts that I've heard, some of the spirits may not appreciate so many people in and around. So I think I would tread lightly, and I would just, I would partly make your presence known that you're here for good and not for evil.
My name is Beth Caldwell. I've lived in Louisville all my life. And my great-grandparents, William and Elaine Caldwell, were the second owners of this house. Well, when I was little, this was a Presbyterian ladies' retirement home. And I think my mother thought her precious little daughters would terrorize little old ladies. So we never came in here. But they would drive by out front and say that was your great-grandparents' house. But when you're 6 or 7, it doesn't mean a whole lot to you. But my father and my aunt were here extensively as children because it was their grandparents' house. So they had all the good memories. My great-grandfather William, when he was a child, his father died. His mother had tuberculosis, couldn't keep her children, so he was farmed out. And as the story goes, he left home when he was 14 or 15 with a nickel in his pocket. And he went around doing odd jobs, educating himself, eventually ended up going to Cornell and Northwestern universities and became a mechanical engineer. And he was living in the Chicago area, but the distilleries in Kentucky had heard about him. So he came to Louisville and eventually opened up Caldwell Tanks here in Louisville, which is still in existence today. They made water tanks and towers. We seem to have people from all across the country, and everybody seems to want to know about the paranormal. I think it's a big thing now. Well, we were told that we don't have ghosts, we have spirits. They said ghosts do mean things and scare people, but spirits come back to places they love to protect it. So I have never seen a person, but I have had some very strange things happen. The first thing that ever happened to me, I was giving a tour on the 3rd floor and a ball of light went past my eyes. And I wouldn't have thought anything about it, but a second one went by. And it was a cloudy day, no sun. And I thought maybe somebody was swinging purses or something, but nobody was. And if anybody else in the group saw it, they didn't say anything. My sister Barb and I have smelled perfume in my great-grandmother's room when we've not had tours. I was standing in the hallway on the 2nd floor outside my great-grandmother's room, and something brushed my face, went down my arm, made the hair on my arm stand straight up. And I had a lady's voice tell me hello when I turned the lights on one day. And then we had a lady that came for a visit once, and we were in the parlor, and she said, "Do you have spirits in the house?" And we said, "Well, we think we do." She said, "Well, there's a lady standing behind you, and she's wearing an ivory dress, and she has her arms out like this, like she's encompassing the whole house." Well, I couldn't see anything. About 4 years later, my cousin is in that same room, different time, different lady says to her, "There's a lady behind you. She's wearing a light colored dress, and she has her arms out like this." But I think probably the most bizarre thing that we had happen here, we had a group of paranormal people that came through, and they had a spirit box. It picked up radio waves. So they went from room to room asking questions. My sister Barb and our assistant director Chris and I all walked through with them. And we couldn't understand anything on that box, but they claimed they heard answers. Well, they went to my great-grandmother's room, started asking some very insensitive questions, and out of the blue, on this box, as clear as day, a voice said, "Get out." And I can tell you, they got their equipment and they left. I would think it was my great-grandmother, and I feel very close to her. I really feel her presence when I'm in that room. All the things that I have felt have been more female than male. I can't speak for other people, but that's, to me, what I see.
We have a couple of live feeds of some of the rooms here.
We do, yeah. So we got two main feeds here. Yep. We got this billiards room, which is going to be a huge point of interest for what we're doing tonight. Got the hallway down there, but we have cameras in all of these rooms where there are reports. You got this man that's seen out here that's smoking a cigar on the balcony. You have the voices of Get Out, right? And a few second floor, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we have all that covered. So
and we have a camera in the 2nd floor sitting room where we've already heard footsteps yesterday.
Right, exactly. When we were shooting, the crew heard footsteps. Our DP, director of photography, David, saw a hand going down the railing, and we'll see what happens. You know, I'm very excited for this, but again, first and foremost, respect is key, right?
Yeah,
obviously, we want to make sure we're showing as much respect for the house and the possible entities that are here as possible. But I think that we have our nerve center here. Everything's ready to go. I say we start in this billiards room and get a session going.
Let's do it.
Sounds good.
All right.
Okay,
let's
cool
start.
beans.
Let's do it.
We begin our investigation by conducting an environmental sweep of the billiards room to establish a baseline. This serves as a control for our experiment.
So right now we are in the billiards room, and we are not only running a test with Zach's equipment where we're monitoring all the environmental data in this room, but this is the exact room where many people over the years have seen a man smoking on that balcony right there. Man with the bowler hat. A lot of people believe it's
Theo Conrad. Yeah,
it's
one of the Conrad descendants. It's Theo Conrad, Theophilus Conrad. That's who a lot of people think it is. Funny thing about this room too is that his wife, Mary Conrad, she didn't allow men to smoke in the house. So that's what's really interesting about this place, because this is like the man cave. I know caves aren't up, but he would go out on that balcony and smoke right over there because she didn't want the smell of cigarette or cigar smoke in the home. So that's kind of interesting when you think about, like, the time period. It was a man's world, but not in this house. And the house was actually in her name. which is pretty interesting when you think about that. And it sounds like she kind of took ownership of that. So pretty cool.
So again, what we're gonna do, guys, is just, kind of get this session going. We're, again, looking at all the environmental data with Zach's equipment. He's gonna look into this from a very scientific perspective. If something does happen, we're gonna capture it in every way, shape, or form. We also have a Zoom H6 right here that's gonna be recording very high quality bitrate recording. We also have an Masonic microphone that's back here. And we also have a few motion detectors. So we're just gonna kind of check things out and see what happens and start a session.
Yeah, my name's Zach Hano, and I'm an electrical engineer. I currently work in the aerospace and defense industry, but I've previously worked on ships for ExxonMobil, and I've worked as a scientist for DuPont. The paranormal's always kind of intrigued me. As a kid, I feel like everybody has that overall curiosity, but as you get older, you kind of close off your mind more. But as I've gotten older, I've kind of got more curious about, what makes up the paranormal. I mean, there's too many people having experiences all around the world to, just write it off that, it's just, mind playing tricks on you or environmental factors. I really want to understand what's going on. As an electrical engineer, working in the aerospace and defense industry, I really want to use science because that's what I use every day. I mean, I'm in the lab and in the field, and I truly understand the scientific method. And the key of the scientific method is to really get that repeatability. And the paranormal, it's kind of difficult to do. But that's why I think we need to bring in new equipment that's used in different fields, especially that I use every day. And obviously it's not made for the paranormal, it's just to understand the environment. And then equipment that I've actually made myself. We have super sensitive equipment. I have my ectopod, my ectodiscs. Basically what they are environmental sensors, but like very, very accurate sensors. Right now we're looking at the temperature, humidity, carbon dioxide, TVOX, you name it, we have it here. Right now it's running a background check to kind of see what the baseline is. Things are pretty nominal right now.
Okay.
Carbon dioxide is a little high, but I mean, that makes sense because we're kind of in this environment. So, we're breathing out carbon dioxide. But if there's anything that changes, anything that doesn't look, it doesn't line up with what our baseline readings are, we should make note of that. We'll have the camera on it, we'll see that, and then hopefully we'll use the EMCCD to see if we can collect that data, and then if there's anything caught, we can capture all that environmental data points on that.
Cool. So initially, just by looking at your readings right now, do you think that there's anything in this home that would adversely affect someone's mind or, thought process or whatever, their brain, to make them think that there's like something going on that's not paranormal?
No. So right now, everything seems fine. We carbon monoxide. There's 0 ppm parts per million, which is good. I mean, that's what.
Very good.
yeah. Air pressure is a little low, but I mean, it's pretty nominal. There's a little bit of ozone, but that can be coming from anything. There's a number of different things, but that's in the normal limit. Like I said, carbon dioxide is a little high. I mean, it's not high enough to create any type of a cognitive dissonance where you might be
like hallucinating
or something.
I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Brandon. I come here with the fullest respect for yourself in this beautiful home. We come here to possibly speak with you and to possibly document your presence. We have devices here. I know there's been people that have come through this house before that have tried to communicate with you or speak with you, but we do have various devices here that can possibly detect your presence. So if you are here, can you let us know by touching one of these devices? They will not harm you in any way, shape, or form, but they will let us know that you're here and allow us to possibly have some form of communication. Did you hear that right there?
That wasn't you?
Something knocked against the wall over there.
I'm gonna try walking away from it again, see if it makes that sound again. Almost sounded like
ding.
This was almost like, it sounded like this right here. Hold on. Was it right here or almost some?
Could have been when you were moving with the floorboards. So let me.
It was this. It was like
that?
It was a sound over here. That's where it came from. Okay, let's just settle.
All right.
We're speaking with some of the museum curators here and the people who work here. and they stressed the importance of being respectful. We're sorry if we were making a loud ruckus while filming here, but this really is a beautiful home. And we loved hearing the stories of the families who lived here and the people who lived here. So if there's anybody here that would like to say something to us, or if you could just spare us a few moments of your time, we'd really, really love for the opportunity to speak with you.
So there's something odd. I don't know. I haven't seen this with the meter yet. It could be a malfunction with the meter, but everything's all zeroed out.
It's not typically not like that, or?
No. Let me reset it. It might be. I want to start it over. But it was rolling, and for some reason it went all
to zeros.
All to zeros. So like it froze.
It's kind of weird because earlier when we were shooting footage, David, right? Didn't your camera like completely malfunction?
Yeah, and I couldn't see half my media in my card. It just wasn't showing up, and I have never seen that before.
We actually thought, like, at one point, I think we were like, oh man, was this, like, did the media get corrupted or something like that? And
yeah, I wasn't sure, and even my monitor was completely yellowed out. I've never even seen that before. It wasn't like, it was pixelated, but it was like yellow and orange.
That's kind of one thing they've talked about here too, right? Is they said that there's been, like, malfunctions with equipment and stuff, right?
Well, that's the thing too. It's like for me, I mean, I'll speak for myself at least. Like I am so detailed with this stuff. Like I make sure everything's working perfectly fine. So when something like this happens, like it's like it really like kind of irks me. It's like something. I mean something's up. Like it's not normal. Right now it's going through the baseline again to kind of calibrate. It seems like it's working fine now. But that was weird. I just noticed that when it was on there.
It is kind of strange though, coincidentally, call it a coincidence or not, but earlier David had the same thing happen with his camera in this exact room.
Oh, right over here? This is where
right
it
by
happened?
that couch, yeah. Started freaking out, yeah.
It's weird. One of my other sensors kind of went off. There's 4 of them, right? Should have 4 data points. We only have 3 right here.
And it's not working?
It's the PIR one.
Is that you making these devices not function properly? It's a very beautiful home you have here. You see why you would stick around, stay in this beautiful room? I mean, it's one of the most beautiful rooms I've ever seen, actually. I wouldn't leave it.
Do you want a cigar? Is it because there's a cigar on the billiards table? Do you want me to take it out of the bag? You do that.
Yeah, feel free to smoke it.
I'm sorry if you're trying to communicate with us, and if there's anything that you want me to do, I could remove that from the packaging. I mean, if interacting with that orange box and this green box over here with the orange numbers on it,
what's going on, dude?
As soon as we started talking about this cigar, the TVOX, total volatile organic compounds, went up to 44 parts per billion.
Okay.
Like that is like that could be chemicals that are in the actual cigars themselves. Like that's weird. That was just weird.
I mean, wants to smoke. You want to smoke?
I don't know if it was because maybe you took it out of the bag, but it was.
Want me to recreate it? See if that does that again?
We could try.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my idea.
Let's see that. Tell me if it's happening.
It might. I mean, it might have to calculate. So,
Mr. Conrad, if you're here, Zach can monitor these devices on the table. Can you come and stand next to me against this table and see if you can make his numbers change? Can you walk up and stand next to me? Is it okay if we light up this cigar in the house?
What are you hearing?
I heard something over there.
Like a footstep?
Like a voice.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's mark that. It's 7:58 p.m.
Is anybody outside?
Can't see out this way. Let's put this right here.
So we walked into the billiards room to set up a control, just get a baseline and see what the environmental factors and conditions were. As always, I have my investigator hat whenever I'm in a spooky place, and so I'm just looking around at some of the equipment that we set up. And while we were talking a little bit about the different environmental factors, and specifically we were talking about the Caldwells, I heard what sounded like a voice, and I was surprised nobody else heard it, but it seemed to come out of the corner of the room. Immediately marked it. We're gonna go review it.
What the hell?
What?
Well, the whole table moved.
It said that, whenever staff or volunteers try and move anything or change anything in that room, you know, things start happening, like lights will flicker, doors will open. So we now have this superstitious, you know, tradition where we kind of walk in and we're like, ladies, we're gonna be cleaning, we're gonna be, you know, fixing, we're gonna be, rearranging. So, you know, we just wanna recognize that you're here.
We apologize. We don't mean to be moving things around or anyone that's in here. We don't mean to be upsetting you. We're just trying to make things a bit easier.
I wasn't jumping up and bouncing up and down on my feet, right, or anything.
No.
Like that was cool. Apparently, a table just moved out of nowhere and almost knocked the EDI off. We've been asking any of the entities that may be here to interact with that. But yeah, I find that kind of interesting that it just moved the table. That one
motion detector just went off.
What
The
the
other one went off.
hell? All right. David, can you move back?
Yeah, that could be a moisture spot on the wall. See a lot of reflections, I think, in the window.
Now that we have our control here in this billiards room, what we're gonna do is bring in Malia and Beth into this area that's usually, you know, in its time when the house was functioning, was usually an area for
That
males.
went off.
Motion detector went off.
Right over there.
Right when we said we were gonna bring in
Beth. Right when we said.
That's also where I was today.
Oh, that was.
That's where it happened.
I was
huh?
right in front of there.
Is that where that happened?
Yeah.
So interesting, we did have a motion detector just go off right when we were talking about bringing up Malia and Beth, which is really interesting. This room was mainly used for men. This was a men's parlor, billiards area. So bringing in Malia and Beth in here, and we'll be at the nerve center monitoring the entire time. And if anything starts to happen, we can join into the investigation at that point. But so far, very interesting.
Hi, Beth.
Hi.
It's so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
It's
Our
so
experiment will test the theory that familial connections are the catalyst for reported paranormal activity taking place at the Conrad Caldwell Museum.
One thing that I will tell you that's really interesting so far is the entire time we were doing our baseline sweeps, we really didn't have any fluctuations of any kind in the environment. But right when Mustafa was talking about bringing Beth up to the billiards room, we started having changes in pressure and temperature, which is interesting. So
interesting.
But we will right there again. See the spiking.
My
It was
Lord.
not going off the entire time, which is very interesting. So I get right there again.
Wow. It's like the house is happy. She's here.
It's definitely a change. Absolutely. So right there we go again.
Yeah, it seems like that's measuring the pressure. So this was definitely your great-grandfather's space.
Yes.
Would Elaine have ever come in this room, do you think?
Well, I'm sure she came in, but probably not while they were playing pool and poker and having their men's night out.
Okay, so this was kind of where he would come, he would chill, he would come and play cards.
I mean, I will say it's very, very interesting that the EDIs were, measuring some changes in pressure and temperature. I mean, right before we mentioned Beth, or right when we mentioned Beth, right?
Well, I mean, the motion detector did the same thing. And then also, the cigar we debunked, but the motion detector went off around the same time. I heard something, and then the EDI goes off too. So that was kind of gnarly. And they weren't going off the entire time we were there. I just thought this is probably an area where the EDIs aren't really gonna do anything, but.
Now, when you've been in this room, have you ever personally had any experience in this room?
I was turning the lights on in here one day and a lady's voice said, hello. I said hello back, but nobody said anything.
Do you think it was Elaine?
I would like to think it is. I feel her presence in this house, especially on the second floor.
And so I'm always thinking back, if I could have just had that conversation. Like, if you're so drawn to her, is there any kind of conversation, anything that if you could say to her, you'd want to say to her?
Well, I would like to tell her how much I admire her, and I would love to have been like her.
I think you are. I think there's a reason why that you're drawn to this house. Maybe it is something that's kind of pulling you, that familial connection is just calling you back, because your family hasn't even owned this house since when? Would you say 1940?
1940.
That's almost 100 years ago. It's 80 years ago.
Exactly.
And the fact that when you said your father, all of you guys are coming here to volunteer your time, that has to mean something. And I just have to believe, the fact that they already got a little bit of something with you just being mentioned, you walking in the room. I feel like the house is happy you're here. I think there's something rooted where the Caldwells want their family here.
Well, they were very family oriented, and I think they would be very happy to know that the family is here and volunteering and involved in this house.
That's interesting. It's going off when you said that.
My great-grandmother did not want to move in here. He had to bribe her by saying, you can decorate it any way you like. And that's the only way she would move in. She said it was too big and too pretentious.
Interesting. So you think your grandfather was, that's a strange thing. I mean, I have to admit, it's a little strange to carry a picture of your friend's house in your wallet.
But this was a unique house, and I think he loved it.
Okay.
And I think he always wanted it. But like I said, he didn't want his friend to die to get it, but
interesting.
He loved living here.
Interesting, that's really going on.
Hey guys.
Sorry. Cutting in.
This thing is really just was
Really?
going, yeah,
Which
was having.
one? Was it
on the
right
one,
there?
that one, yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
So what we've noticed in our research, guys, is that anytime we start to get changes in pressure like that, so that yellow light that goes off, something is happening. And we're not sure exactly what it is, but we've noticed that activity changes. And it's interesting when you're talking about the familial history like that, right?
Yeah.
So that's very, very interesting. So we'll let you guys continue that thought, but we're gonna bring in Mustafa as well.
I just think if it would be nice if, you wanted to, I don't know, directly try to address any of your ancestors who are here maybe, if there's anything that you'd want to say to them, and then who knows, we might be able to, sometimes we get voices of people who aren't here.
Well, I had the lady's voice tell me hello in here.
Yeah?
So, Grandma, are you here? Aunt Grace? Well, it's mostly when we've talked about the ladies of the house.
Really?
The
That's
ladies,
when
and
it would
then
go off?
we first started talking, it started to go off a lot when we first started talking about how, which I think I'm still not over, her great-grandfather, it is your great, right? It's your great-grandfather carried around a picture of this house in his wallet while the Conrads still owned it. They were friends. And like she keeps joking, he didn't want him to die to get the house, but he had been wanting this house.
He loved this house.
Constant pressure changes on one of the data loggers catches Mustafa's attention. Since the changes would presumably occur on both, he resets the device to rule out any false
The
positives.
family still loves this house. It's almost like the house was built by the Conrads, but it was meant for the Caldwells.
Well, I can tell you this story. When my father and my aunt would come here, they always said they were going to the house. And everybody knew what they were talking about. My sister and I today say, we are going to the house, and everybody knows exactly where we're going.
I could say, I mean, even from my equipment, you know how I'm very scientific with it.
Yeah.
I think Beth acted as a good catalyst, and I think they acknowledge, if whoever is here, if there's anything here, the environment at the very least acknowledges that she's here.
Yeah.
So that's what our data is telling us. So I just think that's very interesting. I mean, for me, I'm like, okay, that's really, it's cracking my brain. So.
It's cool. Okay, well, if it impressed you, then that's good.
We get a lot of activity in Elaine Caldwell's bedroom on the second floor, mostly with visitors. A lot of male visitors refuse to actually go into her room altogether. They feel really uncomfortable when they step in. They say that it feels like they're not wanted in that space.
I will tell you, I do feel more uncomfortable in this room than I did upstairs.
Okay.
It doesn't feel bad, but it feels heavier.
Yeah. Hey, is there anybody out there? Is there anybody in this hallway here?
Oh, it's facing into there.
Yeah, it's facing into there. That just went off. That's the...
The electronic voice phenomena you're about to hear was captured on Mustafa's lav mic just as the motion detector in the adjacent room went off.
Yeah, so I got the...
From here.
I got the motion detector set up into that bathroom. Into that bathroom. Into that bathroom.
Our over 50 years of combined research has led us to believe that at the heart of many hauntings is a deep familial connection. So we absolutely had to begin our journey at the Conrad Caldwell house.
We're gonna go review this.
What the hell?
What?
Oh, motion detector just went off.
What the hell? All right.
If one had strong familial ties in life, do those bonds persist in death? Does fighting to remember and celebrate those bonds conjure a haunting? I'd say with what we documented in Old Louisville so far, this could very well be the case.
I would think it was my great-grandmother, and I feel very close to her. I really feel her presence when I'm in that room.
But the Conrad Caldwell house is only one piece of the puzzle. We'll implement what we've learned here in further investigations throughout America's most haunted state.
The house is one of those places that you never know what you're gonna get. And we tell everybody, don't focus entirely on the house because it's the entire property. A lot of shadow play, a lot of disembodied voices. You'll hear, it sounds like furniture moving around, doors opening and closing. People have actually seen, caught pictures, multiple pictures of the mannequins in different positions.
The things that I experienced here has been crazy over the years, but I had a first. I was up in the little girl's room, this flash of light right beside of me, and one other person experienced it, and we didn't have any idea what was going on. Octagon Hall has an activity that I've never seen before, and I've been to hundreds and hundreds of locations. It's almost like this place knows you. When you come here and you really get seated and rooted here, that it remembers you, it knows you.
Octagon Hall, I know, Kevin, you've been here before, right?
Yes, a couple times.
And Malia, I know you've done a lot of historical research.
I mean, honestly, I think this is our most Civil War heavy location that we have been to. I mean, it is smack dab in the middle of it, mainly because the family themselves, the Caldwells, the original owners and builders of the home, were willing to put their entire lives at stake to hide Confederate soldiers. I mean, they literally put their lives on the line because they supported the cause, and you just don't hear a lot about that. You know, you have people that'll leave the area or just kind of like, you know, recede back into the house and just wait for it to pass. They took an active role in helping the people they were believing in, and they had retribution from Union troops. Their water source was poisoned. You know, they broke a bunch of the stuff in their houses. Like, it was just a really bad situation. And then you also have, around the same time, a ton of deaths happening in the Caldwell family. You have the tragic death of the daughter, Mary Elizabeth. What the story goes is she was down in the winter kitchen, which is in the basement of the home, and embers caught her dress on fire, and she would suffer from those burns and die a week later, which is horribly tragic. And they would also lose their 18-month-old son when he fell down the stairs and broke his neck, and I can't even imagine how tragic. I mean, it's the worst thing in life to lose a child, and they lost two. You also have the death of both of Andrew Caldwell's wives in the home. So it's just like tragedy after tragedy, mixed with all of this war going on, mixed with soldiers dying on the property, having limbs amputated in the basement. It's just, you know, it's a field day, to be honest. It's like pick your poison. It's just bad all the way around. All right, Barry, if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself and telling us your relationship with the Octagon Hall.
My name is Barry Bear Gaunt, and my relationship here with the Octagon Hall is I am the museum director. I've been here at the Hall for over 14 years.
Wow.
And it's a very interesting place.
Yeah, I would say so. I can honestly say that it's imposing. Like, seeing this place off the road, it's like, it harkens from a different era. You can feel it. Like, the property, the home, this is different. Like, as soon as you get here, you know you're dealing with something special. It's different, right? So I'm really curious for you. I mean, 14 years is a long time to be the director of a place. What keeps you here?
I love it, Malia. It's one of these places that calls you here. You know, so many people come to the hall and they leave and they don't feel anything, and other people come and it becomes part of their lives. I mean, it actually will. If I feel like, well, if I don't not at the hall, I've got to get here. And I know it might sound strange, but the spirits will sometimes call me here. If there's something that's wrong at the house, I know it at my house.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Like you feel like if something's going on here, you feel like you're still connected to it even when you're not on the property.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And then when you get into the Civil War, you know, it also is just, I don't consider it to be the Civil War. I call it the war between the states because the history shows me that there was nothing civil about that war. Why
Fair
you
point.
call it a civil war, I don't know, but there was nothing civil about it. And this house proves it and shows it because the tragedies and the terrible things that happened here. You know, you have 9,000 Confederate soldiers coming to this house, and they're all over the backyard. They come from Bowling Green where they were being shelled for 72 hours. And they get here and there's wounded, so the house automatically becomes a hospital. And when it becomes that hospital, it's downstairs in the basement. And dirt floors, imagine back then. They're bringing in men, bloodied.
It's weird. I've even said like this place is kind of putting me in a weird mindset, and it's a really cool place, but I kind of really don't like being in here. Like there is a true heaviness here that is very different. But I feel like that really makes sense because of everything that you just said. I mean, this place is just tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. And the house itself is weird. I mean, we're in an octagon house. There was a moment in American history where those were a fad that was attempting to happen, but there's not a lot of them. I think this is one of two that are left in Kentucky?
There's none. This is the only one in Kentucky.
This is the only one left in Kentucky.
Right.
Okay.
An octagon-shaped house is a 3-story brick house with a cupola on top of it. There are 3 left in the country. I believe one's in Virginia, the other's in Louisiana. Wow. And this one right here. And it's a marvel. And we find through our research, Andrew Jackson Caldwell, who built this house, is a Masonic member. And he is not only a Masonic member, he's a 33rd degree Mason, the highest that there is. And he incorporates stuff in here. And it's funny, Masons do come into the house. They will never tell you anything. You know, they just look at the house and go, I could tell a Mason lived here. And maybe every once in a while they'll say, you know, he built a spirit trap here. And I tell them, if you build a spirit trap here, it's one of the best ones I've ever seen. Because there is a lot of energy stored in this house, and it flips on and off just like a light switch sometimes. You can be sitting here, oh, there's nothing going on. In the next 2 minutes, the house breaks wide. We have seen full body apparitions, day and night. Shadow figures roam the property and are seen in the property. We are sitting on limestone. We have an underground water source that runs underneath here. It's on a cave system. It is on ancient property. So we had Palo Indians and all the stuff here. So you can just imagine. And the other weird thing about it is it sits at the 37th parallel. There are bone piles of bones and arms and legs of men here. There are people that died here that are not marked, yes. There are also mass graves on the property. Well, when the Union did away with all of the wounded, they just dropped them in a hole, and they're all out here. There is probably more graves on this property also, because we talked about the Palo Indian and the other part of it. There's a mound out here on the property. There are several mounds on this property in the past. So, you know, like I said, you're dealing with ancient stuff.
Billy.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good to see you again, buddy.
Good to
How's it
see
going?
you. Doing good.
Good. What you got for us today?
Oh, we're gonna do some ground penetrating radar. Through the history of this place, you know, we've came across where when the Union came through and was running from BG, or Bowling Green, Kentucky, to Nashville, they stopped here to do their medical treatment to their soldiers, the wounded soldiers. And then after that, as a few days passed, the Union was approaching, so they had to vacate really quick and retreat south. So they said that the Union, when they overtook this place, they actually killed their wounded, and they buried them out here in the backyard somewhere. So we're here to find them.
So right now we have Billy here from the Simpson County Historical Society, and he's brought out a ground penetrating radar unit. And what we're gonna do with this is we're gonna drag it through the yard out here and see if we can find some of these graves that are unmarked of these soldiers and who knows who else that may be buried on this property. So the graves that are here that we do know about, there's a family plot that's over there that has some of the family members that used to live in the house. And there's also a unmarked slave cemetery that's off to the side with some graves of some unknown soldiers as well. And so there's supposed to be more throughout the yard here, so that's what we're gonna try to find.
Now this unit here is actually the radar system here. It actually connects to this cart, and it just drags along the ground. Okay. And then I'll have a unit up here to display all the data that it's reading. So what we're gonna do, we're just gonna take a walk forward a few feet, and then we'll stop, pull back, and do another walkthrough, okay? This is more or less taking slice after slice after slice of this general area here, okay?
Okay.
So we're gonna continue on here, and we'll push forward, kind of at a slow pace a little bit, until we find something interesting.
My name's Doogie, and you know, I've had a relationship here with Octagon Hall for many years, probably 15 years plus. And my first outing here was just here to look at Civil War stuff, you know, the museum, you know, just to kind of take in the history around Franklin, Kentucky. And boy, did it bloom into something totally different. Octagon Hall has an activity that I've never seen before. And I've been to hundreds and hundreds of locations. And this place brings something totally different. It's almost like this place knows you. When you come here and you really get seated and rooted here, that it remembers you, it knows you.
So this right here is 3 feet, 6 feet, 9 feet, 12 feet, 15 feet, 18 feet, and 21 feet. Okay. So what's interesting about this little point here is it's like what I call a cross section. And a cross section is where it's showing me that this place, it was dug before, okay? It'll show like layer after layer, but when it crosses at this point right here, it tells me that the ground was disturbed at one point in time. We will put a flag here, yes sir. If you notice, the device has an arrow to the side. We usually just kind of get next to this arrow and we'll come back to it.
My name's Isaac Jones. I'm the executive director of the Octagon Hall Museum and Octagon Hall Foundation. My grandfather started the foundation in 2000, and after his passing, I got control of it. The energy in this house is different on a day-to-day basis, and even on an hour-to-hour or minute-to-minute basis. You can be sitting in here and it all be, you know, happy and, you know, fine, and then all of a sudden it just straight changes and it just gets sad and you start feeling depressed. And you know, there are people that are empaths that can really get us feeling for the feelings that are, or the energy that's there. But even people that aren't can walk to a different room in the house or just wait 5 minutes and the energy completely changes. I have seen shadow figures, just full body apparitions.
All right, now this is interesting here. Let me show you this point here. You see how it kind of humps over? Mm-hmm. That tells me that there is something 6 feet right below our feet, and it's kind of a burial, okay?
So what we just found now, looking at this, being 6 foot below right now, would this be a single grave?
That could be, it's a possible single grave, yes. But again, that's what we got to do. We got to kind of process this out, because we can start at this point, we can go forward, then we'll pull back and go right beside where we just came, and it'll hit again to tell us, you know, how long this little hit is here. So, you know, it could start right here, it could start over here, but.
So based on this right now, you can't tell if it's a grave that's laying this way or this way?
Right,
Gotcha.
yes.
Okay.
The house is one of those places that you never know what you're gonna get. And we tell everybody, don't focus entirely on the house because it's the entire property. I mean, I believe at one point it was 300 acres. We had soldiers from both sides here. A lot of bad things happen, things that we don't talk about.
I was here Friday night for an event before you guys come in, and I got one of the craziest things that had ever happened to me here. I'm in the little girl's room upstairs, and I get this flash of light beside of me, and it was like somebody just had a strobe light. And you know, I've never had that experience before, and so I said, I need to pull my recorder out and do a burst session to see who I'm talking to get validation that there's somebody here. Well, I've got that recorder with me, and I also have that recording.
Was that you that caused the flash right beside of me just a minute ago? Were you trying to show yourself? Can you go out and scare the people in the barn? Can you tell me who's talking downstairs right now?
You might talk to several entities at one time, and then all of a sudden it's almost like a shift or a fog kind of rolls in and things change. You're not getting the same names anymore. You're getting somebody else communicating with you.
When it's a pre-1900 burial site, I come to find out that you see where whoever it was buried is just like, there's no coffin. You know, if they put them in a wood box be deteriorated by now. So you'll see the disturbance in the ground.
So being pre-1900s and knowing what we know about this property, do you think that's possibly a Civil War era grave?
It's possibly, yes, definitely a pre-1900. So, you know, we're looking at you know, anywhere from early 1850s, 1840s, you know, on up. Okay.
Well, looks like we already got something right here.
Right here, okay. So that's definitely a new target for us. So again, it could start from here and go back. So, you know, again, this is just a big process. With the data that I've gathered, it's consistent of a burial, the depth and the width. The data is showing that, you know, it is an unmarked grave, and it could be connected to the sightings that are out here. It's a great feeling, but it's also kind of disturbing, you know, because we're creating more history, and that's what I love, is the history of this place.
You'll see them in the house, you'll see them outside.
Sometimes it looks like lanterns, sometimes it looks like a car coming at you, but you know it's just a field out back, and when you start talking about it and you're going, look at the lights, you know, where's that car coming from? Because it looks like two headlights. It'll just disappear. There's no sound to it, there's nothing, it's just two lights coming at you, and then it'll just disappear.
What?
Yes. It's a female, and you can see her popping out of this. Is two other pictures. It's the same picture. It's just this way. In this picture, there is a picture of a lady here in this house. And that lady is over the fireplace, and she's with Andrew Jackson Caldwell, and that's the second wife. And when the Union was here, that picture was taken in late 1863. The Union Army, when they were here, she was trying to defend a wonderful housemate of hers. She unfortunately is thrown off. A Union officer yells at her, "You'll never do that again," grabs her, pulls out a saber, and cuts her hand off. So when you look at so when you look at her picture, you're gonna see her like this, and she's like sitting like this, and her left hand is a prosthetic. It's a wooden hand, and it's a larger wooden hand, and her thumb's up in the air. It's which we call push-pull. So when you look at the picture, and if you look at her left hand, you can see how it kind of comes out kind of weird like this. And if you look how straight it is, and look at the thumb sticking out. A lot of times in a paranormal picture or a full body apparition picture, they don't have name tags. Well, that is almost a sure signal to be able to tell you that that's Harriet Morton Caldwell, the second wife, out in the barn.
One very cool thing about this investigation here is the nerve center is a different setup because we were actually tapping into Octagon's DVR system. They kind of run this place as a paranormal research facility in a way. They have cameras literally everywhere, in every room. And so not only do we have full access to that, but we have our cameras as well. So you can see, one is gonna be their full DVR system. 2 is one of our cameras here where these mannequins are said to move. 3 is this room with the dolls. A lot of activity said to take place there. And 4 is gonna be a live view of all of our environmental conditions, which is really great. So not only are we gonna be able to see that in real time, it's being recorded internally. So we have a lot of technology here, a lot of information coming through, and with the place, with as many claims as Octagon has, it's fantastic. We begin our investigation by sending Kevin to the Enslaved People's Cemetery.
So right now, since there's so many reports of lights and stuff that fly around in these fields, around the cemetery, out of the cemetery, over to the barn, I just kind of want to stand here for a second and just kind of observe the atmosphere before walking into it, just to see if I see anything moving around.
In the autumn room, Mustafa and I test the theory that Masonic practices may be linked to the unexplained activity at Octagon Hall. All right, you ready for this, man?
Hell yeah, dog. You got the book?
Got it.
Oh, Masonic mysteries.
And so what I'm thinking is we just kind of hang out, enjoy the space, incorporate this Masonic piece of literature, and see what happens.
Yeah, I want to feel like 2 elderly, distinguished gentlemen, Not that elderly.
Not that elderly.
No.
Getting there, though.
Getting
there, for
There's
sure.
some gray in the beard.
I was sitting on this bench, which I now know marks an unmarked grave, which I had no idea until today. I was basically sitting here like this, kind of head down, and I watched in my peripheral a person walk from this tree to this tree. And at the time it was a light colored figure, so I thought it was one of the girls with us because she was wearing kind of a light colored khaki. And I watched it and I looked up waiting for it to come out from around the other tree, and it never did. I looked over, she's still standing over there talking, so I get up and walk over there, and no one is over there at all. So whatever I seen wasn't who I thought it was.
All right. So we have this Masonic piece of literature here. They say that energy throughout this place changes drastically at various times of the day. It kind of comes and goes, but we're really gonna hit the Masonic angle now. See what happens. So we're running on a Zoom H6 audio recorder. Pressure right there. Pressure. Right off the bat.
Were you a soldier in the Civil War? I just jumped up to a 4.1. Let's try that again. Were you a soldier in the Civil War? If so, please come up and touch this device in my hand. Whoa, did you see that? $11.5?
Going through our process, going through our work, that's when it happens. And that's what Isaac and Bear say. It's like when they're just going about their business and they're doing it, it's like it's almost if the entities are interested. But what I'm interested in finding out is if once we crack this open and we start, reading through it, looking through it, maybe that might kind of churn up some activity that's different from the other stuff we've been experiencing. Theoretically, what if there's like an entity here that doesn't want us talking about it?
Yeah.
Will you come up and touch this again? 5.1. Oh, look at this thing.
All right, so we're gonna try to be as delicate and tactful with not revealing too much. Again,
I'm not a member of the Freemasons, nor are you, as far as I know.
Maybe not.
Good response. seance. But let's see if they talked about, I want to know if they talk about spirits, right? Ghosts, spirits, they probably call them spirits in this, right?
Let's take a look. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff in the index there.
Whoa,
So.
Templars. That's cool. My dad would flip out right now if he was seeing this book. Oh, he'd be like, you got it, how'd you get it? That's how my dad sounds, in case anyone wants to know. Okay, sulfur. Whoa, sun. Oh, sun said to die and be born again at the winter solstice. We'll do spirits and then we'll do autumn, because it's autumn.
It's autumn. And again, this building is built to a specific Masonic belief, right? So you have cardinal directions with each of these rooms, and you have various times of the year associated with that as well. So autumn room, right? And it's autumn, so we're gonna see what happens, but I do think it's really interesting. As soon as we sat down and started to talk about what we're about to do, we did get pressure changes.
So right now we're out in this cemetery. There's no power at all around us. Nothing out here that would generate any electromagnetic energy. No cell phone on me. I have no idea what would make this go off like that. If you were a Union soldier, will you come up and touch this device? If you were a Confederate soldier, will you come up and touch this device? If you were not a soldier, will you come up and touch this device in my hand? $3.5. Did you live in this house? Are you in one of these unmarked graves? Whoa, 20.8? Dude, I got like full cold chills right now. 9.7? Okay, so I understand, if I'm reading this correctly, that you could be here with us. Is it possible for you to manifest so that I can see you? I know a lot of people have said that they've seen people out here before. 23.2.
Well, the barometric pressure changed by 7 units on the kestrel, right? So that's like a very, very, very specific and very, what's the word? It's a very accurate device that's measuring that barometric pressure. So an aberration of 7 different units, like within a matter of minutes, is crazy. And it's holding steady at that level, which means that the barometric pressure before may have been like the weird part of it, and then it went back to normal.
It is a little creepy out here after hearing all the stories about what's been seen in this field. Everything from ghosts to balls of light to cryptids to extraterrestrial activity. You just never know what might be standing right behind you. It's like they say, it's not really the dark that freaks you out. It's what lies within the dark that you can't see.
And again, with pressure changes, that's something we've seen with our research, and we've theorized a lot, Mustafa, right? Is that we're trying to see what there is and what the correlation is between what people perceive to be ghosts and hauntings and pressure changes and photon events and EMCCD hits. And yet again, we're testing those theories and having some success, which is great, because that's the entire point of all this, right? Mm-hmm. It's to theorize, try and repeat those results in multiple locations throughout the country. And again, I think we're having some pretty successful, sessions here.
Well, yeah, I mean, to me, it's just to talk about it in the most shallowest of terms, right? It's people.
They're in the cemetery. They see photon events moving from the cemetery
to the barn.
But thank you for letting us spend some time with you. Let's head back towards the house. It's been about 45 minutes.
Mustafa and Malia head to the sick room to implement traditional investigative techniques to see if the mannequins move on their own.
Just this here for now while you baby powder.
Oh man, I wanted you to know. I resisted the urge to put it on it.
Slap.
I'm not gonna. Come on.
Well,
I don't hit women. I just, verbally tease them.
I feel like this
It's kind of racist of you to assume that a Muslim just hits women.
Oh my God, that is absolutely not what I was going for.
That's exactly what it is. That's going in the edit.
Her hands aren't up, so I don't know how to
hang it off her nose. It's pretty pointed.
That's honestly so rude.
Why?
What if I did it on like
on her
this?
nipple?
No, on those
Come on.
No, because if it shifts at all, this will ring.
Why does she have a clothespin through her nipple? I just talked about respect, and here I go.
Yeah, this is not he's. In this episode, Mustafa learns how to be respectful.
That's not gonna happen.
First, I'd like to just introduce myself to whoever's here. Sorry that I've been yapping so much.
And if I've been saying some off-color things, but my name is Mustafa.
My name is Malia.
Both traveled from opposite ends of the country.
That's true.
Coast to coast to be here. So thank you for letting us into your home. And if it was against your will and you don't want us to be here, I promise you we'll be out of your hair shortly. And we're just here to document your presence. And we've heard a lot of wonderful things about this place. And sorry, I just lost my train of thought because that mannequin's staring at me. We've heard a lot of wonderful things about this place, and we hope to document your presence here. One of the big claims here is that these mannequins move. Isaac said himself in this area, or no, which room was it? No, it was this room.
I think it's this room.
Isaac said himself that this is the room that always gives him the heebie-jeebies, which is kind of weird because he's been coming here ever since he was a little kid. So, surefire way to find out whether or not, let's not get the brand in there. Surefire way to find out whether or not something's moved is, you can use a bell and that'll ring and that'll let you know if one of these mannequins move. But people say Bear has said that these mannequins shift. So I'm gonna lay some baby powder down on the ground, and if we see that baby powder move or any imprints in there, then we are going to know that this thing moved.
You know what I was thinking? What might be a good place also for baby powder, if we're kind of just playing with this old school technique, is what if we put some right in front of this closet door here, where the trap door down to the hiding spot for the Confederate soldiers was. I like this. I've never done these techniques before.
Usually I huff paint, but baby powder is way more pleasant.
All right. I just don't know why you need to huff anything.
Mustafa lines the threshold of the doorway to the former Confederate hideout in the hopes of capturing movement.
I will say when we first got here, it felt super, super vibey. It was creepy.
Much. It feels very different to me than it did when we first got here. I was concerned when we first got here that it was just gonna be like too much. I felt like I was in a weird headspace, and I just felt like, ugh. And now I actually feel pretty okay.
My face is really hot. Do you feel really hot?
Yeah, actually.
My face is super hot. What about you? Your face feel hot? Emily?
Actually, yeah.
Are your my cheeks feel flush.
Yeah, my cheeks feel like they're burning.
Like just right here.
So it's not hot in here.
No,
67 degrees.
And if it's a sick room, it's the room of fever.
Pressure hits when we started talking about the sick person. Are you trying to tell us who this is supposed to be? Would you like to, if you touch that box, could you do it again? We'd like to know who this is supposed to be. Is it one of the Confederate soldiers who passed away here?
Is it Andrew Caldwell?
What was that? I gotta check that data logger, see if that was it. Brandon, what's the barometric pressure levels?
29.31.
Okay.
It keeps changing slightly.
Yeah?
But it's changing.
Yeah, we had a change on the EDI. It was just pressure.
It's getting really cold in this hallway.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because it feels hot in here to me. My face feels hot in here.
Freezing in there?
67 degrees, because I have a data logger in here.
It's 67 even in this hallway, but it feels like way colder.
It's 60. It's like 67.9 in here, and my face feels hot.
Yeah, dude, I'm like kind of burning up.
And I was freezing not long ago.
The pressure's dead even in here and in the room you guys are at.
Okay.
Wow, okay.
29.31 even on both. They're exactly correlating.
I kind of wish I got the nursery, to be honest.
Nursery? Let's go to the nursery.
Let's do it. So this is a picture. She would have been way younger here, but this is Mary Elizabeth, who was one of the Caldwell daughters, who was, the story goes, she was in the winter kitchen, which is really interesting. They had like the summer kitchen, which was outside, and the winter kitchen, because it was way too cold to be outside, actually in the basement. And the story goes that she was standing too close to the fire and some embers caught her dress, and she suffered burns that a week later she would actually succumb to, which is just absolutely tragic. And I believe it's her that people think they sense in here, and that's why they have balls in here, because people said that she likes to play with the balls. I mean, she's a little girl. It's felt so like, and my face isn't hot in this room either. And I felt not. Is somebody in here with us right now? Is that you, Mary?
Did you guys just hear that?
What?
That moan?
I didn't hear anything in here. Where did it sound like it was coming from?
Like a deep male voice. It sounded like downstairs.
Yeah? We got the Masonic. From this side of the house, like over here?
It sounded like it was down this stairwell right here. It sounded like it was down this stairwell right here.
Do you want us to go down? First floor?
Well, you're getting hits in there?
No, it stopped. Once Mustafa left the room, nothing else happened.
Yeah, go check it out.
I'm gonna set this right here.
Hey guys.
What?
The walkie was at full battery, just completely, it's gone. I just tried to key into Kevin and it's dead, completely gone.
Yeah?
How are the other batteries on the other devices?
Looking fine on my end, that's the only one.
That's weird.
That is weird.
We're getting those environmental changes upstairs.
Mustafa and Malia head to the basement to see if they can correlate the changes in environmental data.
This would have, I feel like, would have been a gathering spot too, because you're trying to stay warm in the... Is this a good place to get warm? It's getting pretty cold outside.
I don't know. It's not the warmest over here.
But if there was a fire going, it would be. It's the winter kitchen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's why Mary was down here. She was warming herself.
And that's how she caught fire.
Yeah. I think she stood too close to the flame.
She's trying to warm herself up, and that's what happened. Ah, man, I don't know.
Because she wouldn't have cooked. She wouldn't have been cooking.
The pressure has changed drastically though.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah, drastically. Went from 21, now it's at 29. It's gone up drastically, and we'll be able to look at the graphs and charts later, but it went up a lot in a short period of time.
That's weird. So it makes you wonder, what is this the baseline level of the barometric pressure, and before there was, that's the weird part, or?
I don't know, but when you guys were in here initially, it was fine.
Huh.
You know what I mean? Like it's like 7 points. So right now we are heading to the cemetery where Kevin just had an experience with very high levels of EMF in an area that has no power lines, no man-made electricity in any way, shape, or form over that particular area. So we're gonna take the EMCCD camera, try and capture some of these shadow people and shadow figures and light anomalies that they've been seeing. So hopefully it's fruitful. Hopefully we can find something. There we go. Got it. Look at that, dude. So we have the EMCCD camera pointed out at this area they call the Deadwoods. We can't get out there So we're taking this long lens with the EMCCD and we're shooting straight out to that tree line. As you can see, I mean, it's completely pitch black. If you point out there, there's nothing there. You can't see anything. But this camera is perfect. Whoa, there we go. That was weird.
What?
We just had something fly towards the camera right there. 14 minutes and 36 seconds. I'm gonna keep recording because let's see if it shows up again. What the hell?
That looks like exactly what, Billy said.
He saw
when it traveled from here to the barn.
That's where Barry got that really crazy photo, right? The one he showed Malia?
Yeah,
that's where this barn. We know that you have been captured on visual devices before. Could you show us who you are? Show yourself? We see you, thank you. Can you do that one more time, please? And if that's not too much to ask.
Sorry if we got excited. It's just that we're really, really, really excited at the prospect of being able to talk to you. And I was just saying, like, it's okay for you to come out.
Oh, there it is again.
The same anomaly that we documented in the Deadwoods appears in the barn when asked to manifest.
So I know one of the claims out here is lights and stuff flying up out of the cemetery and all over in the field out there. So that's what we're trying to document with the EMCCD camera, is these lights that appear out in these fields.
It's completely, so this is more of like an observation investigation than like a typical like ask. And
No, something just flew right in front of the lens almost.
Kevin and Malia repeat identical results with the EMCCD camera in the Enslaved People Cemetery. This is yet another instance where APRA cataloged atypical pressure changes with photon events in the areas that are said to be haunted.
One of the intriguing things about Octagon Hall is that it's a prominent Masonic site. And in the past with APRA and investigating for many years, I've been to many historical sites that are also Masonic, from family homes to Masonic temples. Some of the best evidence I've ever captured, some of the most active places I've been are Masonic sites.
There's a complexity of feelings here at Octagon Hall, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that this is a working museum. It is chock full of artifacts from the Civil War era.
And if there's one thing that we've found strong evidence for in all of our investigations, it's that an active belief, active in action and in practice, oftentimes correlates with paranormal activity.
You walk into a room and it's just like you stop, you get that sense of being watched, a sense of someone being right behind you. What is it? Where do they come from? Why are they here?
There are many who believe Octagon Hall is a Masonic spirit trap, that its construction invites paranormal phenomena. There is nothing speculative about the multiple horrors the property has seen.
At first I was very skeptical until I actually experienced it myself, and then I was like, all right, okay, I see that this is not fake, it is real. Especially if you try to, in a sense, communicate with them. I've tried to communicate before, and I've actually had an experience with my daughter. She passed away when she was 22, so. And I'm sitting on a chair in the hallway, and I fell asleep. So I see my daughter walking down the hallway, down the stairs. She came over to me. She kissed me on my cheek because she always kissed me on my right cheek. And I went like that. I woke up, I was like, I felt my cheek was wet. You know, like when someone gives you a kiss on your cheek, it's a little damp. And I just said, thank you. Appreciate that.
Whoa. What? What?
I just look like someone's standing right here.
So this has got a pretty intense history, and it's one of those locations where there are a lot of claims and not a ton of actual factual evidence to back it up. But essentially, 1885, Edward Mentz opens the hotel with his partner, Mr. Renfro. At that time, it's considered the Renfro Hotel. It's in a great spot because it's really close to the Mammoth Caves. So we're gonna be super, super close to the Mammoth Caves here, which is pretty exciting. Then later on, the hotel is gonna burn down. In 1904, pretty much everything is lost. Almost none of the original items are salvageable. They rebuild the hotel. It's now called the Mentz Hotel, and it's in all of the papers. I mean, like, this is the place to stay when you come to the Mammoth Caves. Also interesting is Edward Mentz worked for the Mammoth Cave Railroad, and then there was this really controversial thing where the company tried to pin something on him, and so he quit because he was getting all of this. He was used as a scapegoat, essentially. So now his entire life is at the hotel. He dies of paralysis in 1909. Now his son, George Mentz, takes over and spends a long time trying to, like, sell the place. I don't think he wanted to keep it, but he's living there. He doesn't have a choice. He also dies there. The next owner of the hotel is a Mrs. Fishback, I think her name is. Let me double check that. And she is also going to die at the hotel. So pretty much everybody that owned the hotel would go ahead and die at the hotel.
Really?
Yeah,
Crazy.
Which is really interesting.
So don't buy that place, man.
Then you have in 1946, from about 1951 to 1952, it becomes the Bulk School for Junior Boys.
Okay.
And their slogan is Bulk Builds Better Boys. And it's like this really popular school to send your kids to. They also run an Elks Lodge out of the place during that time. The story is that the school closed because one of the little boys died in like a pond behind the building. I couldn't find any actual documentation of that, but that's what people believe, so could be not true. Then all of a sudden, it becomes a nursing home. And that's from like 1952 to 1962. So the story is for 10 years, there was 80 funerals in this place. But that's the story. I have only found documentation of 13 people dying at the nursing home during the 10 years, and I haven't found evidence in any of the obituaries that any of their funerals were held in the hotel, or the nursing home, sorry. And I think that's because they had a couple funeral homes in town. It doesn't really make sense that they would have the funeral in the building at that time. And it's also, you know, the 1950s, 1960s, that wasn't as common at the time. So
Right.
I don't know if that's just a really good story or if there were actually some funerals held in the place. I wasn't able to find any documentation that there was ever funerals there.
Well, still 13 deaths is pretty significant.
Definitely, and that's not even including the owners. That is not including George or Ed Mentz or Mrs. Fishback. So all of them died there. Then it becomes an inn again, and it changes hands a bunch of times until it lands in Gary and Karen's hands.
Okay.
And that's who owns it now. Well, Karen, thank you so much for having us in your beautiful bed and breakfast. If you wouldn't mind introducing yourself and telling us how you came upon acquiring the place.
Okay, Karen Baldwin Carroll, and we had a vision for this when we were 34, and we moved to Kentucky in 2006, and we almost got it in 2010, but it took another 5.5 years, and we finally got it in 2015, and fulfilled our vision.
I mean, it's definitely an enchanting building, and it's certainly seen a lot of lives over its many years. It's been everything from a family home, to an inn, to a school for boys, to a nursing home, and now an inn again. So I would love to talk about the history a little bit, because it's varied and vast and really kind of unique. I have a deep admiration for Edward Mentz, who started this place with, I believe, his partner, Mr. Renfro?
Correct. So Mr. Mentz ran Mammoth Cave Railroad Company, 1853 to 1909 when he passed. But he was very good at being an entrepreneur, and they would come to Bell's Tavern, and that burnt down in 1860. So he took the carriage house and made it the first Mentz Hotel on the corner. And then 25 years later, Mr. Renfro's like, I've got money, and you need a nice place. So they built one in 1885. 1903, it burned down. 1905, he built this. And there's a picture of he and his wife and daughter and her husband and the porter up by the porch in 1906. So we got a shot of who Mr. Mentz is.
I would love to talk about when it was Bethwood Nursing Home.
Okay.
So I've heard some pretty large numbers of people that have died here. I've personally found documentation of at least 13 that did die in the home. But I remember you saying something about that funerals were held in the home. Do you know when that would have been?
I just heard they were, because I wasn't here, but we had numerous people say, oh, my great-grandma was there, or my great-aunt was there, and we used to go visit her there. But we heard there was funerals right here in the entry, in the foyer. So
I'm really curious if that would have been for the nursing home?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. They may have had, if a local died, and the graveyard's just up the street from us, so they may have had a funeral here, just to have a funeral here, but I doubt it. It was probably just for the people in the nursing home. So
interesting.
That's a large number. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. So I have found documentation for 13 of the Bethwood residents who have passed in the home. I do know Ed Mentz died in the home, George Mentz died in the home, and Mrs. Fishback died in the home. So there is a large number of people that have passed in this home. And, to me, that's not an innately creepy thing. I think it's a beautiful place. People didn't want to leave. And I think if you have the choice, passing in your own home is always more comfortable than in a hospital. It's not as sterile. It's surrounded by places and people that you love. And this seems to be a place that was well loved by a lot of people. And we are here because we want to investigate the supposed hauntings that apparently take place here. Have you had any personal experiences, or what are the most common things that people tell you that have stayed here?
Personally, I just feel like a thickness or whatever, but I've had numerous people stay or come and walk around and say they see the same ghosts in the same place, and I don't have that gift, so that's a good thing. But they'll tell me, Mr. Mentz and his daughter's right here, and Mr. Balsh is over here, and the porter's up there, and his wife's down the hallway here, and in the same white dress that's in the picture. And so it's just interesting. Room 7, people say there's all kinds of people in there. People have had stuff happen in room 9 where things disappear, and then like 3 months later, they'll reappear. And then people will see somebody walk by on the porch, think, oh, a guest. Nobody. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to the front door thinking somebody just walked by.
Wow, because you literally saw them walk past the windows.
And not just me. Our innkeepers that we've had, a couple different ones, they've seen it. Gary's seen it. Yeah, my husband.
Is there a section of the inn that you feel or guests say is more active? And are there specific things they tend to always see in specific rooms?
Yes. So Gary's daughter passed away in 2006, and for some reason guests have seen it, people just looking have seen it. She's in room number 7. Well, one guest said, I need to tell you something. There's a young lady in there. And so I showed her a picture, and she said, yep, that's her. And her husband says, no, it's a girl with dark curly hair. Well, her friend died 6 years later. And so I found a picture of her, and he said, that's her. So for some reason, they're here, even though we didn't have this till 2015. And then a lady had passed away in that room, and her son found her and covered her with a pillow, and then they accused him of smothering her, which he didn't.
Oh, wow.
So this friend that can hear and stuff, she said, no, she She said she died peacefully and that he didn't do that to her. Her son was a good person.
And what room did that take place
That's in 7.
Okay, so 7 seems to be a quite active room.
Yeah, and the previous owners, he went up to get a tool for his dad and said he saw a guy warming his hands in that room, and there was a little burn hole on the floor. It wasn't all the way through, but it was burnt and dipped, and I'm like, huh. When he told me that, I was like wondering why there was a burn spot, so.
Do you have any idea what room that might have been? Like, was there any family members that maybe had stayed in that room at all?
No, our family, no, but there's numerous times people have said they heard people running in the halls at night. Guess one lady goes, you had people running in your hall last night. Well, I didn't want to tell her, but they said kids play tag up there. So there's children running in the hall up there.
Do you think that could be attached to the school that was here?
I don't know, because I don't see them or hear them, so but I've had that told to me at least 5 times.
Prior to this building being here, because of Bell's Tavern just being right behind us here, this wasn't a camp. During the Civil War, there was tents and everything all out here with Civil War soldiers. This is where they camped, because they had a lot of meetings over there at the old Bell's Tavern. So you can still find artifacts. Well, at first I was very skeptical until I actually experienced it myself, and then I was like, all right, okay, I see that this is not fake, it is real. And after a while, sometimes I'll be sitting in the office and I hear people out here on the porch talking and there's nobody out here. Or I see somebody walk by the window. And so I get up we have cameras and I don't see anybody out here, and we're looking in the camera, we don't see anyone, there's no car. Especially if you try to, in a sense, communicate with them. I've tried to communicate before, and I've actually had an experience with my daughter. She passed away when she was 22, so. She passed away in 2006. So this was in 2006, maybe 3 months later. And I'm sitting on a chair in the hallway, and I fell asleep. So I see my daughter walking down the hallway, down the stairs. She came over to me. She kissed me on my cheek, because she always kissed me on my right cheek. And I went like that. I woke up, I was like, I felt my cheek was wet. Like when someone gives you a kiss on your cheek, it's a little damp. And I just said, thank you, appreciate that. Yeah, I think owning places that are older or historic, been around a long time, it definitely does make a difference, and it's made a difference with me and the way I believe and feel. Some people have seen my daughter and her friend up in room 7. Before they even mentioned that, the first thing I thought to myself when I was first cleaning room 7, we restored this 6 years ago, is I thought, yeah, this is the room my daughter would like. It's really cool. It's kind of like the hippie room. It's got all the different yellow colors. My daughter liked a lot of the hippie things. So I thought, yeah, she would like this room, this one out of all of them. So then, about 3 or 4 years later, a person tells me, yeah, I saw 2 girls in room 7. And I'm like, really? I said, what were they wearing? So she explained to me what they were wearing. I knew exactly who it was right off the bat.
So I'm gonna set up this Zoom H6 right here, this hallway, so we get some nice audio coverage here. So get that here. It's nice we have these microphones so that one's gonna shoot down this way, one's gonna shoot down this way, so that's gonna work out perfectly. All right, we are rolling. This is a session here at the Grand Victorian Inn. So what we have here is a tripwire, and what this does is it picks up EMF, electromagnetic frequencies. So if anything passes in front of these different colored lights you see on the ground, it's gonna change color according to how high the frequency is. So they say they hear kids running up and down this hallway
So we're gonna see if we can get them out to come play hide and seek with us, see if we can get any of these tripped. So we also have the EDI data logger over here, and we have a motion detector through the stairs.
Another thing we should look out for, and what's really cool, is that this is so visually based. So if a train does go by, a long-standing theory we have is that, like, you know, anything near a train station ramps up potential paranormal activity. So if we start seeing our stuff popping off when the train goes by, that's something worth paying close attention to.
Here at the Grand Victorian Inn, we're about 50 feet away from train tracks and trains actively passing every hour or so. That's exciting to me because one of the most significant finds in APRA's history was about the same distance from an active train track. And we collected an EVP of a woman asking if that would be on the train. Not exactly sure what she was referring to, but it is definitely one of the most phenomenal EVPs collected in APRA's history, and something I'm hoping to test further. You know, is it possible that a passing train generates activity? Does it generate more energy in a building? That's something I haven't been able to test since I investigated the Saugus train station back in 2008. I think we'll test that here tonight to see if that theory holds any credibility. Hello, first thing I want to do is introduce myself. My name is Brandon.
I'm Mustafa.
We come here with the fullest respect for yourself in this beautiful hotel, this beautiful inn. We've heard that there's kids here that are playing hide and seek out in this hallway. If there are kids here, we'd like to talk with you possibly. We're not scary, we're not here to scare you at all. We just want to see if we can interact with you, play with you. See these purple lights here on the ground? If you run up to them or run past them, we can, see if you're coming out to play hide and seek with us. All of these devices here and these colored lights, they will not hurt you at all. You can go up and touch them and grab them and see if they light up for you. Sound like a kid. You heard that, right?
You have the H.
It's running, man.
It's running.
Was that you? Was that your voice?
Could you come out in the hallway? We have these toys over here.
Our backup lav microphones recorded an EVP we did not hear mid-investigation.
Was that you? Was that your voice?
If you come and you touch them, there's also a box with a blinking red light. That's really fun.
Mustafa and I both have kids.
Oh, they like playing with our stuff, especially when they shouldn't.
I have a 2-year-old son.
I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. She's gonna be 4. She's looking forward to her birthday party. She wants to make it mermaid themed again. She knows what she likes. What about you?
There's anyone else here that's not the children that are heard here, or maybe the man that's been seen in these rooms, or the woman that's been seen on the staircase? We'd love to talk to any of you. Again, we're here with respect.
We were invited by Karen and Gary. They have a lot of love for this building. We've done a lot of renovations to it. I think it looks beautiful. What do you think? Can you see the work that they've done here?
So, yeah, we're up here. We're hearing a few strange noises down into the hall. But it's a massive place. This hallway is huge. So we're just trying to see if we can make any kind of contact with what eyewitnesses say they see here. I mean, it's been...
Again. Let me go see what that is.
You got in there?
Yeah, what could it possibly be? It's not that clock. It's not working. Sounds like it's coming from...
There it was again. It's out here again.
What?
I just heard it again.
You did?
Yeah.
Where did it come from?
It's like right over here. It almost sounds like something on this shelf.
Something on the shelf?
It sounded like right here.
Who's this?
I have no idea. Oh, there it is again. See?
It was like that.
Yeah, that's very similar to what it sounded like.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Mintz, is that you?
Whoa. What? What?
I just look like someone's standing right here. Look like a little, like about that tall. Oh, right there. Look like a little person.
Maybe they started the hide and seek game and they didn't tell us.
I swear it looked like it. At first I was like, I thought maybe I was looking at the chair right here. You know what I mean? But it was not that far back. It was right here, about this height.
Again.
That was like a person's voice. Here, I want to play that back. Oh, let's play that back. That was 18 minutes. I'm gonna stop this. Let me see if I want to play this back real quick. That was kind of strange.
Do you need headphones?
No, it's got a speaker on it.
What?
Did you hear that? It was like it sounded like a man's voice. Hold on.
All right, we are rolling. This is a session here at the Grand Victorian Inn.
Heard that?
Yeah. Hold on. What?
Yeah.
That's a. Who is that?
I don't know. What the fuck?
That's like clear as hell, dude. Listen. Well, I say we take it downstairs, or we pull it into the computer and analyze it.
Okay.
Let's do that. All right. Like Mustafa says, like he says something about like the owners of the hotel. So let's listen.
Now the guests who stay here hear footsteps in the hallway, people walking, a lot about something.
Here we go. This is it right here.
Heard a lot about some of the owners here.
No, right here.
Okay.
Boy, it's way more voice. It's way longer than it sounded like on there.
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
Whoa.
Is there a way, can we blow
And
that
you can
up?
see it's a
Hold on.
different accent and everything,
Hold
dog.
on.
It's Mens, bro. It's Eddie Mens. I'm telling you, dude.
Hold on. Let's do this. Give me a second. That was...
That sounded like it was just.
Okay.
We need to.
Heard a lot about some of the owners here.
Something this evening. I'll be down this evening. That's what it says. Listen, I'll be down this evening. Listen.
It's probably your owner.
Listen.
Heard a lot about some of the owners here.
I'll be down this evening.
Yes.
Holy shit.
Oh my god.
That's exactly what it sounds like. Wait, okay, play it again.
I'll be
Play it
down
again.
this evening.
I'll go with Emily.
Okay.
I'll do it. Okay. Want this?
Yeah, so once you get it up there, just set it down like on a nice area and just hit that record button right there.
You got it,
See
pal.
that?
Okay,
All
let's
right.
do this. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and set this. Just give me for a second, I'm fine. I'm gonna set this here. All right, first of all, I just wanna say hi. My name is Malia. I'm here with my friend Emily. And it kind of seems like you guys want to play. I have a couple young goddaughters. One's name is Sophia, the other one is Camila. And they love playing tag, I'll tell ya. Do you guys want to play tag? We have a really fun little box and all these really pretty little purple lights. And if you set them off, I will know that you're here. And we can play. You don't have to be shy. We're a really playful group, I promise. We like to play.
I had a feeling, that's why I started walking over here. Felt like if I went over here, that I was gonna get set off, because every time we start moving and we're like stationary, then it goes off. But that's not set off by me, because I was over here.
We have a full house of people up here. It's a lot of us are very playful.
All right, who wants to play with someone who's actually fun?
I'm really fun. Are you kidding me? My goddaughters love me. I'm like the queen.
Well, they have to love you because you're related to them.
That's not true. They're my goddaughters, all right?
That's true. Keep going, Malia. I'm just observing.
Great. Go have fun without me. Do you guys have a favorite room to play in? A lot of really cool people have lived here. The Mentz family is really, really impressive. Where did they go?
What? Heard something?
No, but who opened the employee's only door?
What?
Wasn't that closed?
Where?
Yeah. It was supposed to be closed.
Oh, classic kid hiding spot, laundry room.
What?
EDI, let's go.
Go.
Oh, this just went off.
What did?
What?
This one off, right here. This one.
Are you playing with us?
I'm pretty sure.
Wait, the motion detector off is in here. Wait, the motion detector over here is off.
Does this change to blue?
Yeah.
The tripwire goes to blue if it's high EMF.
Yes, and then the motion detector, I think someone, go in here. Go in here with the EDI.
Someone went in.
Are you in here?
Oh my god.
That's me. Ooh.
This is room 7.
Dude, it is cold in here.
Is it?
Yeah.
They're playing with us.
It is cold.
Gary's daughter passed away in 2006, and for some reason, guests have seen it. People just looking have seen it. She's in room number 7.
Hello? Come on. I want to
you
win.
in
I've
here?
never won in tag.
Not getting any environmental changes over here.
What about the bathroom?
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys run out again? Where did you go?
It all seems to be adding up. I mean, it was kind of weird, though, that we had the tripwire light go off.
Yeah, because that hasn't gone off at all. And then the motion detector in that room went off.
It was
and it was
like,
faced in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it only goes off if you're in there. And no one was in there.
Sitting though?
This? No, the tripwire light went off. This didn't go off. That was just up there.
Wait, doesn't that affect the tripwire?
No, absolutely not. This was up here.
Okay. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, that's not going to affect the tripwire at all. That's just EMF does that. So even if you were to take this, see? Because that's why we use the EDIs, because they're very well insulated.
This is such a trip.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Wow.
Yeah, the EDI is like really, that's why we like to use them, because literally the only way to kind of like, you could shake it and then nothing will happen, but if you breathe on it, like that'll set it off. That's about it.
Are you still hiding in here?
So I had to ask you what happened in my bedroom.
What happened in your bedroom?
You all went into number 7.
Oh.
So Emily noticed that, so the tripwire, yeah, the power light's up there. I left it on a table up there just in case we hear any noises while we're down here. But the tripwire had turned blue, and then I had the motion detector pointed towards the interior of room 7. It was, Malia made this connection where tripwire goes off, and then right diagonal of it, the motion detector went off after we started counting as if we were playing a game of hide and seek.
And after, when we started like looking for them is when that happened.
And then this was running the whole time.
In the laundry room, door was open and it's been closed.
That's weird.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, the entire time we've been here, that door's been closed the entire time. None of us were down there. I think a lot of ghost stories always start with the former owner dying and then haunting the place. And that could be the case here at the Grand Victorian. You have at least 3 of the previous owners that lived here, loved it here, and then died here. Are they who haunts the Grand Victorian? I don't know. But what I find even more peculiar with this location is just like the Conrad Caldwell, where William Caldwell carried an actual photo of the house in his pocket, even though it was his friend's house, because he wanted it so bad. Karen and Gary wanted this place for 10 years. What is it about these homes that is calling to people? It wasn't their family that built them. It wasn't a familial connection at that time that drew them to that place. So why are homes calling to people? What is it that is making people yearn for a structure? At the end of the day, that's what a house is. So maybe that's why it's such a romantic idea to think of former owners loving a place so much that when they die, they don't want to leave it.
Mustafa and I headed to Sweet Joy to see if the claims of a ghost tea party are related to the room's proximity to an active railroad.
All right, Brandon. Finally alone.
God, you wish.
Here we go.
This is a little weird. This room is a bit strange.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just the layout, the look of this like cool Victorian room, but it's a little weird. I do think it's really strange so far. This entire investigation, we have not had a single hit from a data logger in any way, shape, or form.
Nope.
No temperature changes, no pressure changes, no humidity, no EMF, nothing like that.
Well, that's what, a lot of times we think oh, there's a temperature change. Maybe it's just ultra sensitive to changes in temperature, which happens in a room, especially when you're going from room to room in a home. But that's what just makes our other finds on other cases that much more interesting, especially when we're at the Jailer's Inn. We're following that cloud around. We have a device here. It's an orange box. You'll see a blinking red light on it. I don't know if you can see it. But we've been reading a lot about this, about the Grand Victorian Inn, also known as a men's hotel. It's a beautiful area here. We love that the railroad's right across the street, even though I can imagine it might not be so fun if someone's sleeping and a train goes by. I can sleep through trains going off. It doesn't bother me. The fact that we have such close proximity to the ruins of the Bell's Tavern and then the railroad right across the street, and then our proximity to the Mammoth Cave, I think it's just a collective kind of trifecta of different environmental and geological factors that are conspiring, I guess, for the lack of a better word, to make a perfect storm of paranormal activity. So I'm excited to see what happens here and if any of these factors or a confluence of them will spur on the hauntings here.
Doing a sweep this whole week, it's 0 on Milligas.
Yeah.
It's crazy. This place is flat.
Which is good for investigating.
Yeah, it's
very
great.
good.
Upon hearing the incoming train, Mustafa makes a bet that we will finally register environmental changes on our data log.
$5. $5. All right, I got you. Come on, I got $5 already on this. It's still going, dude. It ain't over yet. I love gambling. It makes things so much more exciting. I see why people get addicted. Gambling's bad. If you're addicted, call that hotline. I don't know what it is, but it's...
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. God damn it. Friends have got up all night. God. Look, it's still gone. Look.
okay?
You can feel the roof shaking.
Yeah.
Look.
It's changing the pressure, dude.
That's interesting.
Whoa, dude, I'm getting like
Yeah,
goosebumps.
yeah, you can feel it. Look, it's
big
still
time. Pressure changes, just pressure, and it's getting colder in here now.
Look.
Dude, it's getting colder in here now, but we're not registering any temperature drops.
What the hell, man?
Dude, I willed that, bro, because I don't want to lose the bed.
Well, I know the interesting thing is, I mean, like, the entire night we've had no environmental changes
None.
of any kind. Look, it's still. So you know what that means, right? I mean, that means in theory that, like, this train is changing the environment within this building. I mean, does that mean it's something supernatural? We can't say that, but it's very possible. Very possible.
So there's some kind of kinetic energy from the train that's ramping up whatever's here, or let's put on, you know, ghost enthusiast hat. I don't know, Mr. Mentz, Eddie Mentz, he worked on the railroad in his whole life. It's associated with this building, and he would bring travelers to the Mammoth Cave here, and he would, you know, take them, and he rode the railroad, and he rode it there, and he would take them to the hotel. But we do know that you did capture that really awesome EVP, Sagas.
That's what makes you wonder. I mean, we didn't have data loggers and that kind of technology at that time. So it makes you wonder if I did have data loggers in there when that train passed and we captured this phenomenal EVP, like, would there have been pressure changes associated with that?
The most fun I've ever had investigating my entire life.
Oh my God.
I can only assume some tomfoolery just went down.
So the train starts to pass, right?
Yeah, loud as hell.
All night EDI pluses
Nothing.
are not going off it. No, the EDI pluses are not going off, right?
Yeah.
We set it down on the table, and the train starts to pass, and Mustafa's like, "Bet you $5 it's gonna go off." I was like, "Oh, all right, here we go." We shake hands. Pressure changes.
Okay, was it like it kept going on?
It wouldn't stop until the train stopped.
Do you hate it that I'm right, like, all the time about everything?
It's annoying as hell.
And this is the guy that's right all the time.
It sucks. It sucks.
I'm out $5, so.
Never make a bet with this guy.
So happy.
How many times you got?
No, I manifested this happening, bro.
Don't say that.
I use my mind, bro. I'm telling you, I'm telekinetic,
All right.
dude.
Yeah. Make it happen again.
I don't feel like it. I don't
Okay,
feel like
yeah.
it. All right. Tell the
Likely
train to come by.
excuse.
Tell the train. How about this? I'll make a train come by right now.
No.
Shut up.
Oh, what's that? What's
oh
that?
My, you gotta be kidding me. Can we get, come here.
I just made a train come by. Oh, it's temperature. That's temperature, that's temperature. Yeah, baby.
I mean, there's so many claims here at the Grand Victorian Inn, it's almost hard to keep track of. I mean, you have everything from, you know, the sounds of a tea party to seeing a man, you know, trying to warm his hands by a fire. The Grand Victorian Inn is exactly the type of place I'm looking to acquire, not only as a research facility, but a place to live with my family.
So with Gary losing his daughter and people allegedly seeing her here, you know, one thing that we've noticed with a lot of locations we've been to is that these places house a lot of love, a lot of family. And so I don't think it's far-fetched for, you know, her to still be around here. She was here a lot. This is a place that she loved, and there's a connection to this place. And Gary and Karen's keeping it alive.
When it comes to the history of the Grand Victorian, I am personally drawn to the story of the Mentz family. I think what they endured is really inspiring.
What is it about this place that keeps people here? What is it about this place that people love?
I got started in the paranormal because I lost a brother to cancer and I lost a brother to suicide. So that was a very emotional, personal reason I got involved in this, you know, type of research. I can't imagine what it's like to lose a child. I know my parents did. I grew up around that, seeing how they reacted and seeing how, you know, it changed them forever.
We cannot say for certain if our findings at the Grand Victorian Inn are tied to the building's history. Rushing to define the source of our findings would be irresponsible and disrespectful to not only the location, but to Karen and Gary, who are keeping the Grand Vic's memory alive. What we can say, however, is that our own ghost story is now part of the Inn's long list of paranormal claims, and we are honored to be part of it.